Ui, es ist sehr dunkel schon wieder. Mhm. Vielleicht kannst du das Licht ein bisschen näher herstellen. What up, what up? Oh, that's better. Maybe a little bit more to vielleicht noch ein bisschen zurück wieder. Yeah, I think that looks good. Nein, danke. Passt schon. What's going on? What's going on? I think we should be live. Let's see if some people are cruising in. Usual deal. Would be cool if you could give me some feedback on how the quality is. Picture as well as audio quality. That would be very much appreciated. Also, of course, if you're here, please drop a like on the stream. Always helpful for the algorithms and stuff like that. Let's have a nice Sunday evening. Kind of a finishing off this very lazy Sunday today. I have a feeling it was a very, very lazy, laid back, chilled Sunday. Not really a lot going on. It was a rest day for me. So tomorrow is going to be a training day actually, and it's going to be a home wall day. I want to actually film the tomorrow home wall session to make a video, which is very highly requested. What a standard home wall session looks like, because that seems to be interesting for a lot of people. A lot of people want to want to make home wall sessions as well and want to see how they make the most gains. But it's really not a lot of it's not rocket science really. There's not a whole lot to it. I just do a standard warm up, mobilizing routine, then do a couple of hangs on the hangboard, under which we are sitting at the moment here, as you can see. A couple of hangs on the hangboard just to warm up the fingers. And hanging on quite bad holds on the hangboard is actually almost the same as hanging on quite bad holds on the home wall. Because you gotta realize on the home wall we also have footholds available most of the time, right? So when we make boulders with these holds, which are quite worse than on the hangboard, it gets quite hard quite quickly. But still, yeah, it's got to be a bit harder than without feet, obviously. But anyway, so I hang a couple of holds on the hangboard, and then I hang a couple of holds on the home wall, essentially, and then I do the first couple of moves on the home wall, just to get the whole body going, upper body strength, the usual deal. And then I feel already ready most of the time to pull the first 7A/plus boulders or something. And then I get into the flow and I go from there. Most of the time, I actually have some projects from the previous sessions that I want to attack. It's going to be a little bit interesting tomorrow because, I think I have one left with the new underclings from which I mounted last time. But apart from that, it's pretty much a session into the blue. I think I got to invent something new on the wall tomorrow. The thing is also, I haven't been really a lot of home wall bouldering recently because the conditions outdoors were quite good. It was quite fresh, not super wet and everything. So I could get the one or the other outdoor session in. It's gonna be interesting. Gonna be interesting to see how the comeback on this little mini comeback, so to say, on the home wall is gonna turn out. Because last session was maybe 1.5 weeks ago or something. Yeah. And we had also the new the switch to the new hangboarding strategy in the meantime, which is going on for about 3 to 4 weeks at this point. A couple of sessions in already, and we made some gains there. I talked about this in the recent hangboarding episode. I do the repeaters approach now, trying to get a constant pump in the forearms going. Try to get that hypertrophy going, get that hard pump, talking about a hard pump here, right? Not a soft pump as we are used to it from the more aerobic training, which we can do when we traverse, for example, for 30 minutes on a bouldering wall, or for 30 minutes on a route climbing wall, for that matter. Very low intensity, very easy moves, very big holds, lots of shaking. That creates a soft aerobic pump. Now, on the hangboard, doing the repeaters, we want to achieve a hard, non-aerobic and anaerobic pump, which really gets the lactic acid going, and then we get the lactic acid resistance, so to say, in the forearms, right? And this is what kind of really gives you this tight feeling in the forearms, really makes the forearms explode. And supposedly this also yields some quite significant hypertrophy gains. Yeah, so we're gonna try that out. I already could push the personal best from 15 minutes, sticking to the routine for 15 minutes, to sticking to the routine for 45 minutes. Yeah, so that's pretty amazing actually. And again, of course, every time when you pick up something new, the gains initially are really significant and really noticeable. Yeah. Of course, the longer we stick to it, the more interesting it becomes. The more interesting it becomes to see how things turn out, how we are sliding into the next plateau. And once I'm plateauing there again with the repeater approach, as I said in the video, I think if I don't break my personal best for 3 sessions in a row, for example, then I will change the strategy again. And what's always crucial with these sessions as well is to note the exact training weight of the session. Yeah. So the body weight plus clothing that you have on the hangboard, if you're not using any bonus weight or stuff like that, because I mean, even if you use any bonus weight or assisting weight for that matter on a pulley system or stuff like that, it is always extremely useful to know your exact training weight of the session, because it fluctuates obviously depending on when we train. Do we train in the morning? Do we train in the evening? Have we eaten something? Maybe we have a light day, maybe we have a heavy day. And then results on the hangboard obviously fluctuate as well. Yeah, so it could well be that you don't break your personal best, but you match your personal best and are 2 kilos heavier that session than in the previous session. Well, then obviously you actually broke your personal best, right? Because achieving that personal best with that additional weight is actually quite a lot harder. So this way, it's important to always note your training weight. Essentially, that's what I want to say. Yeah. Good night. Good night. I think Mona puts the little one to bed, so we're gonna see how that turns out. Good night. Yeah, really cute, really cute. I just wanted to really quickly show you the live stream receptacle that we're rocking today. We're going with the, hope you can see that, we're going with the Hermax tonight, I should say. And just some regular tap water in here, by the way. Nothing special, nothing filtered or anything. Again, I'm curious to see how long we go today, how many cool questions. I mean, it's going to depend on the questions that cruise in. But for me, it's quite a lazy day. I don't know, how was your Sunday today? I feel it was quite a lazy, cozy indoors day. Already waking up in the morning, there was a little bit of new snow coverage on the ground, and kind of this gray skies. It was really this moist feeling throughout the day. We did a little bit of walking during the day, so that we get some fresh air and a little bit of daylight, essentially. But yeah, as I said, today was a rest day. Really not a lot to do. Yesterday we celebrated the birthday of Mona's mom, and I made a lasagna actually. We had some leftover lasagna for today, obviously, because always when I make lasagna, there's something left over. And it actually tasted quite amazing. But it was kind of this chilling indoor, eating lasagna, laying around, playing stuff on the laptop, watching YouTube. This kind of day it was for me. So yeah, let's see how fit I am for the live stream. Yeah. Apart from that, apart from the training change on the hangboard, apart from the next couple of home wall sessions that are coming up, what really happened in recent times? A lot of stuff is going on in Vienna today. Protests regarding the Big C. Pretty interesting stuff there as well. That's something that is maybe should be noted, will not probably be covered so much by the mainstream media, but should be noted if you're interested in current events and stuff like that from Austria. That's definitely significant. What else is happening? Yeah, really not a lot actually. I couldn't think of so much now. I think I would just cover a couple of questions that I already see popping up here in the chat, and then we just go with the flow. I'd say just going with the flow, just see what we're up to today. Marcel Bonvi already has the first couple of questions even before the stream started. That's very diligent, man. So let's see what we got. Hey Manny, should I incorporate hangboard training after climbing days? I'm doing Tues and Thurs outdoor bouldering and Set and Sand outdoor sport climbing. That's a pretty dense schedule, man. Not bad. My goal is to climb the 7th grade. 36 with 2 years of climbing, or just with climbing it's enough? So far I did a 7A plus. And what do you think about finger pulls in a hangboard? I would say that's a pretty dense schedule, man. For someone who climbs only 2 years and is 36 years old, I would be careful that you don't push yourself into an injury by incorporating hangboarding on top of what you're already doing. Sounds a lot to me, man. I wish I could get that schedule in, to be honest. At the moment, sport climbing is quite hard here in the area where I live because there's a lot of caves, and all of these caves have the problem that they get wet during the winter, because there's snowfall on top, and then it's getting warm, the snow melts, the cave is wet, then it's getting cold, the snow, the water freezes, and then you've got these ice caverns, these freaking ice caves all around. Lastly, I checked out the cave. I think it's called the Zigeunerloch, which is near Graz. I just wanted to see. I just visited the crag to see if it's dry or not, whether I could try some stuff there. And there are these huge, long, prolongated quick draws, which you often have in these prolongated roof sections and stuff like that for protection. And these quick draws were just completely covered in freaking ice stalactites, which were like 1.5 meters long. So the cave at the moment is or the walls, when I checked it out, are pretty much an ice cavern. So you can't really go there and do sport climbing, unfortunately. So for me, it's only outdoor bouldering at the moment. If you have both available, outdoor bouldering and outdoor sport climbing, and you've got both 2 times a week, I mean, I couldn't think of a better program actually than that. Tues and Thurs, outdoor Set and Sun, outdoor sport climbing. My goal is to climb the 7. I would just stick to the climbing, honestly. If you can pull that schedule through without getting injured, you can already, be happy with that, and you will for sure make significant gains with only 2 years of experience for now. 7A plus with 2 years and at 36 is actually also quite good, I think. So don't get discouraged, even if you might plateau a little. If you're not injured at all, be happy because your schedule is quite dense, and I would not necessarily add hangboarding to that. If you had to, so if you just by all means turn and burn, balls to the walls, you wanna freaking add some hangboarding to that, I would rather do it on the session after the Thursday, on the Thursday after the bouldering session, so to speak, and on the or on the session after the Sunday. So hangboarding right after climbing, it's a controversial topic. I've talked a lot about it. I do it. I like it. I have the feeling that I sometimes get very good hangboard sessions right after my home wall sessions, for example. So if I have something left in the tank, but I don't want to kind of go dynamically with some dynamic moves anymore on the home wall, stuff like that, but I have the feeling I just want to crank out some one-armers on some small holds, then I hop on my Beastmaker up here with the pulley system and attack it for some one-armers, and sometimes these sessions turn out quite well. What I would not do is do a hangboard session and climb afterwards, which is also something that a lot of people apparently like to do, but I would not be able to get the climbing results in that I desire after a reasonably successful high quality hangboard session. unless this climbing is only aerobic, shaky shake, easy stuff, yeah, big holes and stuff like that. Obviously, this stuff you can do also after a hangboard session. But I rarely do this stuff these days. Yeah, this kind of foundation work I feel is something that I get in any ways when I'm on a longer climbing trip, for example. Yeah, so yeah, if hangboard sessions on the same day as the climbing day, then I would do it after the climbing session. So that's all that I can really say to that. And if you have no hangboarding experience at all, I would not start with crazy max hang one armers, obviously. Yeah, you should start with something like duration hangs, some 7 seconds hang, 7 seconds hanging, different grip types, different edge sizes to feel out where you stand really, and then go from there. And then maybe start something with repeaters or something. Yeah, and only when you have succeeded with a couple of repeater sessions and you really want to try it out, then you could go something more towards max hangs where you put a little bonus weight on and then have 5 second dead hangs, for example, with some rests. And you know the deal, yeah. But it's essentially the dead hangs is what's most intense. As a beginner hangboarder, I would do this after I would get some other stuff out of the way first. Yeah. But again, your schedule is already pretty dense. There's really no need for hangboarding already. That's my feeling. Simon Niederman. That's a new name, I think. What's up, man? Hi, Manny. Greetings from Sweden. Cool. Sweden. Greetings from Austria, man. Hope the family is doing fine. Yeah, man, absolutely. Absolutely. The little one. She's already picking up speed on the ground, man. She's really, crawling. I wouldn't say it's crawling, okay? It's more like, how can you call it? In German, we say robben, yeah? It's when we lie on the ground and just like really worming ourselves forward. The seals, when they move forward, that's kind of the strategy that she applies at the moment to make some mileage, on the ground. It's kind of funny to watch it, but yeah, that's how she's making meters now, and she gets to places, man, and she's getting faster and faster on the ground. It's really amazing to see, yeah. And then after some time, she's getting exhausted, and then she's crying around, and we pick her up again, and it's you lay her down, and you take some kind of toy, put it 2 meters away, and whoop, and she's gonna be there in like, I don't know, 10 seconds or something, yeah. So this took at least 1 minute only 1 week ago. So she's really picking up speed there. That's cool to see. And also she's learning to sit, which is apparently also something that is quite a milestone for the little babies like that. They do not yet have this balance really, yeah, to be able to sit and don't fall over to the back or to the front or to the side. So sitting without having the arms supporting the body is kind of a challenge. But she's getting there as well, man. She when she switches sides, for example, she switches directions in which she wants to crawl at. She sits for a short time, right, and then changes directions and stuff like that. So it's amazing to see how again, I've talked about this previously, they have amazing power, man. They have amazing power divided by body weight. But what they don't have is, first of all, the motivation to go somewhere, I think, is lacking at the beginning completely. Now she has these toys and she identifies the toys from afar and she wants to get there. So this is motivation, number one, right? And secondly is the coordination. The coordination aspect is huge. They don't have the feeling yet for that. How to, for example, when she's up on all four extremities, she doesn't yet have the feeling of when she's able to lift off one hand without falling over, right? Because every one of these four extremities is under stress. There is weight on them, yeah? And when she lifts one hand, for example, she falls over sometimes. She loses balance. And this is something that, of course, takes a lot of coordination to know when to lift which extremity to go forward. This is also why the real crawling is actually a big milestone, yeah, which is something that she doesn't do yet. She does more like the robbing around the ceiling, around on the, the floor, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the family is nice. It's going quite well. It's going quite well. No more Superman planks, by the way. This was a very, very short time window when she did that. This is actually the pre-stage to the crawling state that she's now in. So I'm really happy I caught that on camera when she was so so crazy about the Superman planks, man. Because now it would have been over, and she doesn't do this stuff anymore. Yeah? She's getting up now, and then she starts already to move forward instead of just standing there for 16 seconds in the Superman plank. Pickle Rick is back on stream. What's up, man? How are you doing? Hey, Manny, nice to see you. Nice to have you back on stream, Pickle. Benedikt Pabinger, welcome back. Grüß dich, Mani. Grüß dich, Benedikt. What's up? Me and Pickle Rick enjoying your live stream during studying. Yeah, amazing. But don't get too distracted, man. Don't get too distracted. What are you studying? MC Debus, aka Milan, is back on stream. What's up? What got you back into hypertrophy? Well, what essentially got me back into hypertrophy was that I was plateauing in max strength. And I think, to be completely honest with you, I never put this concept into practice 100%. But theoretically, and why? Because psychologically, it is so tempting to just simply push max strength PRs all the time, right? The max strength PRs is what we want to see. This is where it's at. This is where the motivation is. When we were able to pull that freaking one armor on a small edge, that's the golden goal, right? We want to, that's what we would like to get done. This is a nice signature move. We could flex on our friends. We can flex on our beautiful Instagram and everywhere so that we can make the one armor, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal, right? So that's why a lot of people just simply, once they got to a certain level in hangboarding, they just focus on max hangs. And for bowlers especially, I think this is a lot the case. They just do max hangs and on very, very freakishly small edges and nothing else, because they have the feeling that this is yielding the most progress in their discipline. This is carrying over the most, and I can very much understand that that's the case, because in outdoor bouldering we have just simply super freakishly small and bad holes with big distances. So if you can crank those small holes down, you can definitely have the edge on outdoor bouldering. But you're gonna plateau at some point, and this is something that happened with me time and time again when I trained max strength on the hangboard, and I never was numbers wise as strong as I was this time when I finished this cycle at 5 kilograms, 5 kg of assisting weight for the 15 millimeter. This is the Beastmaker side edge here, the 15 millimeter edge one armor. Yeah. So this is a milestone that I attacked for quite some time, because I feel that a lot of really high-level athletes in climbing are able to do this. And it would be interesting whether I'm physically capable of, when I'm as strong as I can be, when I'm at my genetic limit, if I'm able to do this as well. At least one rep, at least with my stronger hand, which is the right hand. Although, interestingly, I have the feeling that on this kind of exercise, the strength equalizes actually on my different arms, which is interesting, but that's another story. So yeah, I've been attacking this kind of one armor for some time now, and I'm getting really close. 5 kilograms of assisting weight on the pulley system. This is not a lot. In my experience, when I got to 3 kilograms of assisting weight on one armors, I could try the one armor right away, unassisted. Yeah, because the assisting weight kind hinders you a little bit from executing the perfect form. And without assisting weight, you're actually a little bit better in doing these one armers, and that makes them a little bit easier. Yeah, so kind of, it's very hard when you're this close already to let it be and switch the training approach, right? But if you're plateauing for 2 weeks, or in other words, 4 sessions not breaking your personal best, and then of course you take critical measures, right? You, instead of, for example, at the beginning, when I did my max strength sessions, I did them right after the home wall session. Now, when I noticed that I got a little bit into a plateau with this, what did I do? I did the home wall session, then did the hangboard session on the next day, yeah, without a rest day in between, so that I have a little bit of recovery time after the home wall session. Now, when I could feel that even with this approach, I could not, make significant gains anymore, what did I do? I did my home wall session, made a rest day, and then I actually attacked the hangboard fresh, yeah, 100% fresh. But at some point, I couldn't even break my personal bests with that approach, yeah, even on fresh sessions. And this is when I know, okay, I'm just simply maxed out for this kind of training at the moment. I need to change the strategy. Why not try it the training theory way, which is essentially mixing up hypertrophy and max strength to give the muscle some time to adapt always, yeah? Because hypertrophy theoretically should make the muscle bigger. Max strength should increase intramuscular coordination. So this is a perfect alternating strategy, right? Gaining some muscle, strengthening it up, gaining some muscle, strengthening it up. So this is why I switched to hypertrophy training on the hangboard, because I had the feeling that I plateaued out on the max strength approach. We're gonna see how it works out. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Average Climber is back on the stream. What's up, man? Welcome back. Hi, Manny. Should one get a meal in after hangboard training, like it is usually done after muscle training? Well, of course. Of course, unless you're fasting or dry fasting to get a crazy project done or something like that, which I did in the past. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You should, of course, in general, eat after your session is done. Now, if you do a bouldering session and a hangboard session afterwards on the same day, it is very wise to actually not eat so much after the bouldering session, because that's going to raise your insulin. It's going to kick you into digesting mode, laid back mode, attaining calories, putting calories onto your body, which is the opposite of burning calories, getting calories off your body, which is what we want to do when we work out, right? When we work out, we want to be in calorie burning mode. We want to have insulin rock bottom. And this is very hard if you smash in a meal right after the bouldering session and then hop onto the hangboard. So I would just simply pick the warm-up state from the bouldering session and hop on the hangboard right away. Yeah, this is how I do it these days. It's also, from a skin perspective, a little bit smarter, because if you're waiting after a bouldering session too long, the skin kind of catches up and starts to hurt, yeah, especially if you hit those really small holes. Now, if you get on the hangboard fast enough, the skin kind of doesn't recognize that it's already quite sore, and you can push the hangboard session through without the skin being a limiting factor. And then only after the hangboard session, you're going to feel the skin, and then you're going to be completely destroyed, and you've earned your meal, yeah? And then it doesn't matter if the insulin goes up. It's actually a good thing after the training, because that means, again, you're in energy storing mode. It's time to repair those tissues, time to repair the damages, time to get recovery going. So I would do the meals only after training. And for me personally, I am a guy. Seems to be these two types of sports people, right? The ones that perform better in the morning, and then there's the ones that perform better in the evening. And I seem to be this kind of morning person. Yeah. Also, when I did my fasting experiments and my OMAD experiments and whatnot, it was always easiest for me to skip the morning meal. So to simply not eat breakfast and instead go for a training, do something else with my time, and then do one big dinner or even no dinner at all. Yeah? But if I would eat OMAD one meal a day, I would do it at dinner usually. Because if I smash in a big breakfast, then it's very hard for me to not eat in the evening again then. Yeah. But if I simply skip breakfast and I eat bigly in the evening, then I'm fine. So I'm this kind of a morning person. And also if I get training sessions in, and I could really document this, I could really see this now with the home wall, because training on the home wall is super accessible. There is no gym to go to. I just have to lower the wall down and get started essentially. So training is super accessible. So I could really see the differences between training in the morning for me and training in the evening. And training in the evening usually meant that I had breakfast, right? I had some breakfast, waited until the breakfast was digested, and then started training in the evening. And I tell you this much, I didn't have this good results compared to when I simply trained in the morning without having breakfast right after getting up. I'm getting up at, actually, I'm getting up pretty early these days, sometimes like 7 o'clock or something in the morning, and then no breakfast, and then starting my training at 9 or something, 8, 9 in the morning. Yeah, very early session. And I have very good results with that. It's actually quite amazing. So I'm this kind of a morning person. How the freak did I actually get into this topic? Hi Manny, should one get a meal in after hangboard training like it is usually done after muscle training? This question got me into the difference between morning and evening athletes. Anyway, now we got that covered. Yes, of course. If you're not doing anything after that anymore, if it's your final session for the day, eat something, okay? Get recovery going. Raise that insulin, repair the tissues. Jordan Heller is back on stream. Welcome, my friend. This is a very, very diligent guest. Mm-hmm. Live stream receptacle, man. Amazing. Hey, Manny, what is the easiest boulder on your home wall? The easiest documented boulder is a 7A. Yeah. Funnily enough, not the very first boulder, which is number one, right? Number one of the first video, of the first home wall video, was graded 7A as well. But in hindsight, doing this boulder over and over again, I realized that it's actually probably 7A plus or something along these lines. Quite a bit harder. It's always interesting when you start grading a home wall like this. The first few boulders, which will usually be graded very toughly, and only once you get the balance in, once you get a couple of hard problems, a couple of easier problems, things start to balance out and grading becomes more and more accurate. That's the experience that I had on the home wall now, and this is also the experience that I had when I was doing the first couple of problems and grading them on the Andromeda wall, in the Fürstenfeld climbing gym. So it's really interesting how that works out. But yeah, the easiest documented boulder is still 7A. It's a different boulder than from the number one. It incorporates the edges that I got sent, I think, from what was his name? Martin. Martin sent me some edges, and there was one 7A boulder with these edges. It would be interesting to make a list or something where I can see how many 7As I have, so how many 7A pluses, how many 7Bs and stuff like that. And I actually plan to make a video that would be really interesting, I think, because I now have 30 documented boulders on the home wall, which I already sent previously. So I would find it cool to roll the dice simply in one session, right? Put the laptop down with a statistical, what's the name, Zufallsgenerator, essentially rolling the dice on 30, and the number it spits out, I search up the boulder in my database and then just simply see if I can send this boulder in a quick pace, and then when I got this done, rolling the dice again, sending another problem. And it would be cool to create sessions like that where you're able to simply go through your repertoire, so to say, your boulder repertoire, so that you can really ingrain those boulders in your, movement memory, in your muscle memory, and stuff like that. I think it's when you have a couple of boulders like this, rolling the dice on your boulders that you already created can be really, really effective training. Yeah. And being able to send more and more of these boulders inside of one session up to a point where you're ideally able to send all of them in one session. That means that you have mastered the home wall then up until till this point. Yeah. But I think it's going to be very hard to send all of these 30 boulders in one session for me. But you start slowly. At the beginning, you can do 5. You maybe get stopped by 180 plus or something. But then you're projecting that 80 plus again until you send it again. And this way you're getting those boulders into your repertoire. Marius Kitzmüller. Hey Manny, I think this is a new name. Welcome to the stream, Marius. How are you doing? Paul B is back on the stream. What's up, Paul? How are you doing? Hey, Manny, good to have you back online. Hope your family doing good. Family doing great, man. We are very, very happy and healthy. Today was a really lazy day, though. Really lazy day, man. It was very cozy inside, very uncozy outside. So we stayed inside a lot. We ate lasagna, leftover lasagna from yesterday. It was beautiful. We are also at the moment in the process of replaying some of the greatest games ever made. By the way, Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, and Zelda Majora's Mask. I downloaded an emulator for Mac laptops because can you imagine Mona didn't even know these games existed? Yeah. I don't know under which rock she has been living so far. But anyway, when she told me that she didn't know these games, I told her, okay, let's download an emulator. It's a perfect opportunity to play these games through again. And this is what we're doing at the moment. She's attacking the Ocarina of Time, and I'm attacking Majora's Mask. Great times, man. Great times. Some of the best games ever created. Marius Kitzmüller says, where did you resole your climbing shoes back in Vienna? I only resoled my climbing shoes actually in Vienna. And I think I don't remember the name of the shop, of the store. But I guess it's closed now anyway at the moment. But it's really small mountaineering shop close to the Maria Hilfer Straße, I think. Maybe some guy knows the name. I'm not sure anymore. Yeah, it's close to the lower end of the Maria Hilfer Straße. And it's not on the Maria Hilfer Straße itself, but in some sort of side street. Yeah, not so obvious. But the resoling there, it was not top-notch quality, and the price was actually significant. Yeah. So what I would do these days is I would send it if you're living in Vienna. I would send it to Sartic, which is, I think, a Czech company or stuff. You can look them up online. You can simply send in your shoes. Best would be if you have this kind of, if you have already bigger packages, maybe your friends need some resoling as well, and then you send in more. I think it's also getting cheaper then with the shipping and everything. Saltic, I can really recommend. Saltic. Yeah. Yeah, again, I think it's a Czech company, and their resoling work is amazing. I resoled recently one 510 team one more time, and another. I resoled even the Scarpa Drago, which I might even make a separate video on because this Scarpa Drago is now a weapon. I exchanged the rubber, obviously, because the rubber is, I think, the main weakness of the Drago. I exchanged it with the 510 stealth rubber, and now this thing is a weapon, man. So yeah, I might make a video on that in the future. MC the Bus, aka Milan, says, "What do you watch on YouTube?" Well, on YouTube is actually at this point, like really only edgy stuff, stuff that is way out there, right? I don't know. I'm really interested in nutrition, the nutrition side of things. I'm really interested in following people who are willing to self experiment with fasting, with, different diet approaches, different elimination diet approaches. Although, in my present opinion, uh, an elimination diet is not where it's at. Okay, neither health wise nor performance wise, interestingly enough. I think that eating everything nowadays is actually probably in the end where it's at when it comes to longevity, health, and performance. Because what I feel is, especially diets lacking carbohydrates are not so good for performance. This is, again, coming from my perspective. I've tried keto, I've tried the carnivore diet, I've been on a high carb, low fat vegan diet for around 3 years. I did all the fasting stuff, I did all the OMAD stuff. I have quite a lot of experience with self experimenting with that stuff, and I know myself as a data point because I documented all my experiments in my training diary, right? But it's of course cool to see other data points going through the same experiences, and this is something that I watch, for example, on YouTube. I watch people who are really on the edge, so to speak, when it comes to the diet self experimenting. Carnivore stuff, keto stuff, always people who have some decent athletic performance themselves, because I think that, well, if you're a couch potato and sitting around all the time, you can do that pretty much on any diet. Yeah. Just like you can perform super strong, by the way, on almost any diet. But I have the feeling that people who are excluding carbs completely have a little harder time to perform in certain sports. And there is something that we always must not forget is that there's Olympic athletes out there, yeah, so smashing McDonald's left, right, and center, and they are pushing incredible results. Yeah, I mean, of course, these people are all on gear and enhanced here, enhanced there. It's always a careful thing to look at. Yeah, but diet for them doesn't really seem to be the limiting factor. Yeah? If you're smashing McDonald's left, right, and center, it can't really be. And I've seen this with climbers as well. Climbers who don't really care about what they eat and get amazing results. Yeah, it might well just be with climbing that in the end, if you're eating little in general, regardless of what you eat, but if you're eating little, then you're probably on the good side of things. Yeah, some people also have this instinct on their own to just simply eat very little food. They kind of get satiated very quickly, which is amazing, because it gives them very, very lean physiques. And this is obviously something that's amazing for climbing, right? I am unfortunately not part of that crowd. I'm a guy who I have to I have to force myself a little bit to eat little. Yeah. So fasting for me and stuff like that, OMAD, it doesn't come naturally. I am this kind of guy who likes to chill out. I like to, enjoy a good piece of lasagna. Maybe it's also my disadvantage here a little bit that I actually cook decently well. Also now in this relationship that I am in now, I cook most of the meals. Yeah. I just like doing it. Yeah, I just like standing in the kitchen and throwing together some stuff. It's amazing. It's fun for me. Yeah, and then of course afterwards eating that stuff is also fun for me. For a person like this, being super lightweight all year around is not that easy, unless you're on the ultimate elimination diet, which is a high carb vegan diet. Okay, when I was on a high carb vegan diet, I was smashing the calories left, right, and center. But because of the quality of food that you're eating, you're shredding down extremely despite eating all of the time. Yeah. It's an interesting thing with the high carb vegan thing. The problem is that this is not sustainable long term. You're running into deficiencies. You're gonna burn through your body faster than you know. And in the end, you might end up with multiple injuries, problems here and there, little problems, yeah, teeth problems, whatnot. Not recommended, yeah, not recommended. What's probably recommended is a diet containing everything. Yeah, containing everything. The question is, can you stomach it? Yeah. Anyway, just got way off track there again. Coming from the question, what do you watch on YouTube? Yeah, out in the edge diet stuff. Uh, Current events. Was pretty interested in the US election because of the stuff that's going on there. Obviously pretty interested in what's going on with the big C. Things that might qualify to at some point have an impact on my life, right? Because now these things don't really have an impact on my life still, yeah, which is incredible, because people all around me, they are impacted by that stuff because they have a quote unquote normal job, which I don't have. I can do my job from whenever I want, wherever I want, and this has not changed. Yeah, I'm just doing it from home now, and if the conditions would actually be good enough, I could still outdoor climb. Yeah, nobody would stop me, because it's still allowed. So for me, my life didn't really change. But of course, I realized that a lot of people around me, for them, their lives changed significantly throughout these developments. And this is why I am forced to some degree to see what's going on there as well, because obviously I have a small family now. I look into the future. I want to see what's going on there. And that's why I watch these kind of things as well. As much as they are still available on YouTube, because unfortunately, YouTube went down the road of censorship when it comes to these things a lot, which is unfortunate because free speech is where it's at. But that's only leading to alternative platforms. Yeah. So you can't really kill this kind of information anymore. Paul B says, what do you think about the protests in Vienna? Been there with my girlfriend. Wow, nice. Yeah, I watched a couple of videos. Even there was even a live stream, I think, of a guy following the crowd, so to speak. Mm. Well, I think it's always hard to comment on these things, because you can only lose. I wanna say this, yeah. I wanna get this straight as well. When you're coming here to this platform, you get my opinion, okay? You get my uncensored, unfiltered opinion. And I'm proud of that. I am actually proud of that because I know this, in this day and age, this is something rare, okay? This is something rare, man. If you're asking this simple question to someone who's got a big audience now, they will likely not answer it because they have only to lose. The population, and also likely my audience, is so split apart when it comes to this topic. It's so polarized that whatever stance you take, you're gonna lose a huge chunk, or you're gonna lose sympathy of a huge chunk of people, right? Of a huge chunk of your audience. So I give you my unfiltered opinion because I don't care. Okay, I don't care so much if what I say is liked by people and stuff like that. So that's just to get that out of the way, to preface this. I thought about this recently when I was timestamping previous streams of mine, and I was talking about the big C already and the waxy stuff and everything. That next time when I'm talking about this subject, I should maybe preface this with you get my unfiltered opinion, and that's why you came here, right? You don't want me to essentially, what's the word, bestätigen. Sometimes I just simply forget simple words like that. Bestätigen, confirm an opinion that you already have, right? So my opinion is that it's a good thing, of course, that people go on the streets and voice their opinion, voice their right. I mean, voice their disagreement with the regulations that are put upon them, because they are those who have to live after these regulations, right? It's those people, and they have a right to do that. They have a right to protest. I tell you this: these protests were made or were been trying to made illegal by the police and everything. Yeah, so they forbid these protests, but it is actually part of the Austrian constitution that you have a right to protest. Yeah, you have a right to protest. You have a right to voice your opinion on the street. Yeah, you cannot say everything, which is unfortunate in my opinion. In my opinion, total freedom of speech is where it's at, which is the American concept, right? This is one thing that I really respect of the Americans, by the way, that they kept their freedom of speech, which is also grounded in their constitution, to this day and age, to this snowflakey day and age, where where everybody gets offended by when somebody says, "Hey, you're an idiot." What, then you're offended or what? Then you can be sued for saying that this guy is an idiot. That's stupid. Okay, everybody should be able to take this kind of criticism. uh, we talked about this as well, yeah. But in the end, freedom of speech is where it's at, and I think it's good that people make use of their right, so to speak, and voice their opinion like that. Yeah. Now the problem is, and this is another, as maybe an unpopular opinion that I throw out here, but what these people tend to do is they politicize this kind of discussion. So, for example, now our chancellor, our Bundeskanzler, chancellor, I think it's called in English, it's Sebastian Kurz. Maybe you've heard of this guy. So and he is the guy who is the bad guy now, right? He's the guy who he made all these regulations. Oh my God, he's so evil. He's so bad. He must be removed from office. Yada yada yada. So they politicize this kind of discussion. They go on the street and say, Chancellor Kurz must go. Chancellor Kurz must go. Instead, we want to have this guy in place. He's the one who knows what's up, blah, 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 blah. And here is where I depart from this kind of movement a little bit, because I think that there is no political solution for these problems anymore. Okay, there is a greater development behind all these things, and it wouldn't really matter which party is in power or who is in power or whatnot. If someone else was in power, then they would make up the same regulations as has been done, essentially, yeah, because they get their orders also from somewhere else. I have the feeling, yeah. This is if you really want to trick the system nowadays, what you have to do is you have to starve it. This is the only way to really have an impact, in my opinion. You go away from the city, you own some land, you be self-sufficient. Yeah, you make your own food, you grow your own food, you try to earn as little money as possible so that you have to pay as little taxes as possible, so that you can starve the beast as much as possible by growing your own food, boycotting supermarkets, because all of these developments are ruining, in fact, the livelihood of the small man, yeah, of the small man, in other words. And this is what I criticize with protests like these a lot, that they rather than attacking the general developments of the system, they attack the puppet that's in power at the moment, right? Yeah, of course, then you're gonna get rid of the puppet, you're gonna exchange it with another puppet, and this upholds the illusion of choice, right? This is what democracy is all about, upholding the illusion of choice on the small man, so that you keep them in check. Yeah, they are responsible because they voted this puppet in, so you can always blame them. Then what you have to do is get rid of the system as a whole, starve it, yeah, earn less money, live a simpler life, move to the countryside. Yeah, really deep subject, really deep subject. But yeah, in general, I think it's a good thing that people are voicing their opinion and making are not intimidated that easily. I've talked about this previously. The people are not buying it anymore. Yeah, people are just simply not buying anymore, and you have to deal with that somehow as the system. Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting how they will do that. Snake Durant Goat. That's I think a new name on the stream as well. What is your accent? My accent is Austrian. Probably not, because if I would talk with an Austrian accent, I would probably more talk like this. Yeah, this is the original Austrian English accent. If you're a bit more accurate, I'm just simply trying to make it sound a little bit more professional with my English, because I although also I think it would sound relatively funny if I would talk like this. Maybe we should try. Maybe we should try talk like this for a little bit, because I like it actually. I like it. But yes, so because I don't want to Austrianize my English accent so much. I'm actually putting a lot of effort into trying to pronouncing the words properly, But yeah, so this is actually the original Austrian accent when it comes to English, at least as far as I know. But I'm trying my best to somehow to fake the American pronunciation, so that the people understand me maybe a little bit better. I just take a sip from the live stream receptacle. Shoram says, "Hey Manny, do you plan doing the ultimate 9C test?" Yes, I actually do. Okay, I think I can't keep this up for a long time. But yes, I actually do. The problem is I can't really do it here at home, because I lack, believe it or not, a 20 millimeter edge, which is something that you seem to, by the way, talking about the 9C test, they say you need a roughly 20 millimeter edge. Are you kidding me? A roughly 20 millimeter edge, so that means 23 millimeters is still 20 millimeters, 18, 17 millimeters is still 20 millimeters, because that's a freaking huge difference, man. Okay, if some guy makes this test on 23 millimeters and another guy on 17 or 18 millimeters, that's a completely different hang, man. That's a completely different hang. So you gotta specify that, in my opinion. So in my opinion, when they say it's got to be around 20 millimeter, for me that's spot on 20 millimeter. No question about it, no discussion about that. Yeah, because that's going to lead to completely different hangs, and therefore completely different tests. And the 20 millimeter edge hang with bonus weight is the most relevant test in this test when it comes to climbing performance. Yeah, so this should be freakishly accurate. This should be specified. So in my opinion, this should be specified to 20 millimeters, and there is no tolerance for that. Yeah, and I am lacking at the moment, unfortunately, a 20 millimeter edge here in this flat. Yeah, but I have one, I think, in the climbing gym in Fürstenfeld. And when I get there again, I try to come up with some way to get the bonus weight going, because actually quite a lot of bonus weight. Maybe I'm gonna have Mona hang on me with a couple of additional weights and whatnot, so that we can get the bonus weight going. But yeah, that's what I need. I need a pull-up bar, which is static, although not really. Yeah, maybe for the front lever thing and stuff, which is something that I have as well in the climbing gym in Fürstenfeld. Yeah, so the climbing gym in Fürstenfeld will be the playground where the 9C test will happen. And I hope it will happen. Yeah, it would be interesting for me even to see where I end up with that stuff. Let's see. Shoram says as well, asks, what do you think about it? I got 8C and I climbed 7B. Wow. You mean 7B boulders and you got 8C routes. I mean, that would be not so far off. If you climb if you got 8C routes and you climb 7B routes, then you're quite far off, man. Then you've got to work on your technique. But I think we talked about that previously, right? Aren't you the freakishly strong guy who has no technique and only climbs with pure power? But yeah, that's what I think about the test. I think the 20 millimeter bonus weight hang for 5 seconds is the most aussagekräftig, is the most telling of the 4 parts of the test, whether when it comes to real climbing performance. The other things, I mean, the front lever, I would be surprised if Adam Ondra can hold a front lever for long, a clean front lever, okay? Nice form front lever for more than 10 seconds. It's really hard to do that, actually, if you're quite tall. And Adam is quite tall. So I would be surprised. But hey, I like to be surprised. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong on that, and Adam Ondra is in fact a front lever beast. But in terms of how, telling front lever performance is, how much it carries over into climbing performance, I doubt that it carries over a lot. And then there comes the duration hang on the bar, yeah, which is also something that, how telling is that, man? Hard to tell, man. But who knows? Yeah, who knows? Maybe I haven't done the test. That's why talking about it is actually quite forbidden. Yeah, not gonna talk too much about it because I can't. I haven't done it myself. I will do it though, and then we can criticize it or not, or say it's awesome. But what I think from pure common sense standpoint is that the 20 millimeter bonus weight hang is what carries over the most, and which should therefore be specified a lot narrower, so to speak. No roughly 20 millimeter edge. No, spot on 20 millimeter edge. Actually, they would still have to also, specify the rounding on that edge, because rounding on an edge can also make a huge difference on whether this edge feels good or bad. Lycanthrope is back on stream. What's up, man? How are you doing? I hope you're fine, man. Hey, Manny, hope it's all going well. Yes, man, it is going well. I'm getting closer to finally buy. See, I opened a new tab there. I'm getting closer to finally buy and build a camper, and the goal is to have it similar like yours, Caddy or Kangoo, no big van. What would you do different now if you'd have to build it all again? And did you notice a significant increase in gas usage because of the weight of the wood and all? No, not at all. I did not notice any additional fuel usage because of. There is no difference whether I have it in or out of my car. I can actually build it into my car in about 45 minutes and get it out again in about 30 minutes or something. So it's kind of versatile like that. So I have the comparison, right? I have the comparison when the thing is in, doesn't take a lot more or significantly more fuel than when it's out. Maybe that topic would also be an idea for a new video, since with the pandemic, more and more people get interested in getting a camper car. Yeah, that's true. But still want to use it as an everyday car, for example. Yeah, the Caddy Bro fits these criteria very well, I must say. Yeah, being a camper and being a just very, very useful car at the same time, all the time. So now, since we're not on a trip at the moment, actually the camper thing is all of the time out of the car. And when we moved into this flat, for example, I just almost exclusively used the Caddy as a vehicle to transport stuff. Yeah, because the Caddy, if you get the back seats out as well, you have a lot of storage room, man. It's amazing. But what would I do differently if I had to build it all again? Let's see. There's a couple of modifications that I did. First of all, the big boards that I had, not the boards that I could clap up and down like this, under which the drawers are, but the big boards that I would slide in front and which would make the main surface for the bedding. I would use a different material for that because I used spruce, which I think is like thick like this, like 2 centimeters or something thickness, and it was laminated in a vertical way. Now, obviously, what I didn't know back then, but what happened after some time, after like 1.5, 2 years, is that these laminations, because you're lying on top of them and you're sitting up, sitting down, you're moving around on them, with time, they split apart on the weakest spot, right? And at some point, the boards just simply split apart, yeah. And then I would sit on the seats below the boards, and I would always have this kind of, this kind of not even, not flat surface to lie on. So what I would get is something that is much closer to what I have here as a training board, yeah, a Siebdruckplatte or a laminated board, a glued laminated board, which can also be a lot thinner. Has the same stability, but is a lot thinner. Is therefore also, I think, lighter a little bit, and it still fulfills the purpose. Yeah, you just have an even ground to sleep on. And I exchanged already my big boards with some laminated board, which is only, I think, 12 millimeters thick or something, but still has amazing stability. It's not like this with the black surface on it, but it's actually a lighter one, and yeah, it's not the black surface, but it's a glue laminated board. Yeah, so that's what I would change. What else would I change? I think I didn't change anything apart from that, and I only changed that because sleeping would get quite uncomfortable, obviously, if the boards are a little bit split apart, and packing and unpacking the bed with the split apart boards, that's quite inconvenient. So yeah, I exchanged that stuff. Apart from that, I didn't really exchange anything, and I also wouldn't do really anything a lot differently. I love the drawers. The drawers are awesome. They are still working 100% fine. The rest of it still works also 100% fine. What I would say in general is that I don't know your life situation and stuff, obviously, but if you maybe have a girlfriend already, if you thinking about maybe making a small family or stuff like that, it might well be that going for a bigger van right away could be advantageous. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Caddy Bro. The Caddy Bro is just amazing. The Caddy Bro is also super stealthy, yeah, because nobody would expect somebody to sleep in this kind of car if you're standing somewhere, if you're parking the car somewhere in a city or stuff like that, right? Or maybe even at a crag or somewhere in nature or what. It can always these kind of cars, the Kastenwagen, right? Kastenwagen is the German word for it, for these caddies and kangoos and stuff like that. They can always be really easily and quickly mistaken for just, company cars in which people transport stuff, which people drive to work with and transport stuff to somewhere else. So these cars are usually left alone. Yeah, they are just simply left alone. They are not taken. They are not cared for a lot, and I really like that. I like this kind of stealthy aspect of it. With the big VW vans and stuff, everybody knows. Okay, there's probably a climber hippie living in that van, and everybody knows right away what's up, right? So if that's a problem, it really depends on what you're doing with your car, obviously. Yeah, if you're always sticking to the rules 100%, you're never going to have a problem with that. But if you're slightly diverge from the rules sometimes and you want to stay a little bit more stealthy, well, I love the Caddy for this kind of stuff, yeah, because it gives you this kind of company car look, which it really is not. And if you're already having a girlfriend and you're thinking about a small family, well, then, I think with the kid now, when it's this small, even in the Caddy, it would be no problem. Yeah, it would actually be quite a cozy adventure, I think. But when she gets bigger, when she takes a bit more space in the bed, yeah. I mean, now I have one comfortable double bed in the Caddy Bro, 2 meters times 140. It's actually quite amazing that this fits into the Caddy. But if you put 2 seats to the front and put them to the front completely, you have this kind of bed size. But yeah, if you've got kids and the kids get bigger, take more space in the bed, at some point you might think about a bigger van in general. And yeah, so for me, if I ever get rid of my Caddy Bro, which at the moment it doesn't look like it because it's just simply going strong still, yeah. But if I get rid of it at some point, I would instead probably buy a proper van, yeah, this time. Good old VW bus, yeah. So this is something that you might think about as well. But yeah, depends on your life situation. Pickle Rick says, just a quick question. Yesterday we were arguing which protein source is better, whey protein or hemp protein. Well, I'm really curious what your opinion is on this topic. It's both a waste product, okay? It's both trash waste product. If I would only have to choose between the two, I would rather, in this day and age, actually go with the whey protein, okay? Because okay, if I would have a completely solid gut, no autoimmune issues at all, and I'm completely, rock solid with my diet and everything, and I know I could stomach the hemp protein, which I have tried it as well in the past in my vegan days. Then I would rock the hemp maybe, yeah. But taste-wise, I mean, you gotta like the taste of this hemp stuff. That's the first thing. I think the whey thing is much more neutral, actually. And the whey thing is it is a trash product. It is, sold ridiculously expensive to make money of something that's actually a waste product of the dairy industry. But it's an animal product. Yeah, it's an animal product. Your body will usually digest it very well. It will very likely give you very little problems. So from a professional perspective, sorry, I touched the mic there. From a professional perspective, I would rather recommend the whey. Yeah. But no protein powder is needed, especially not for climbers, man. There's no freaking protein powder needed, okay? You don't need so much protein. I didn't feel the difference back in the vegan days, and I don't feel the difference now between eating a higher protein and a lower protein diet. I eat everything now from all the food groups, plants and animal sources. And I think that protein really is something overrated. It's really a marketing gag to sell you this stuff. Benedict Pavinger says, you asked what we are studying. Yes. Pickle studies energy and Messtechnik. Oh, okay. Energie und Messtechnik. Nice. TU or what? And I do economic maths. That sounds very TU-like. And we did our bachelor's together in technical physics. Nice. So you're in the master's already. Good job, man. Good job, guys. I'm proud. You see, I'm proud to have such an educated audience all the time. That's amazing. That's why the discussions are also always amazing on these live streams like that. Cool stuff, by the way. Maybe I should have gone for some technical, some technical stuff as well. Because you might know, I did a HTL before I actually studied biology. Yeah, did my HTL in mechatronics, actually, on the HTL Rennweg, good old HTL Rennweg in Vienna. And I think I would really I would have loved something technical, to study something technical as well. But in the end, I went for the thing that interested me the most, which was biology, and I don't regret it. It was amazing too. GS321 says, I think that's a new name. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Hey, Manny, 19-year-old here. Young. I have been training for 2.5 years and can now do a one-armor on the Beastmaker 2000 middle edge and a 5-second front lever on the 6mm micros. Good job. What sport climb could I realistically expect to red point in less than 10 sessions? Previous max 8A in 2 sessions. In 10 sessions, yeah, you should be able to do 8B. No doubt about it. You should be able to do 8B. Yeah. More so a bowlery 8B than an endurance 8B, because if you're telling me that you can one arm the middle beast maker 2000 edge, this is a pure max power move. I mean, I was at one of my fittest stages in my climbing career when I could do this stuff, and I was climbing 8C plus with this kind of fitness. So theoretically, maybe you should you should try something like that. But you said that you have an 8A in 2 sessions, so I would say that 8A goes down for me usually second go. Yeah. So then I compare this. It's probably simply because I have a lot more experience. I know, what still falls into the grade, what's the wrong solution. Maybe I have a little bit better technique, a little bit better strategy and stuff like that. So for me, 8A goes down second attempt. Yeah, and I'm definitely not a lot fitter than you when it comes to finger strength and stuff like that. Yeah, when you can one arm the middle beast, make a 2000 edge. 8B should be definitely doable for you in 10 sessions, maybe even 8B plus. Yeah, who knows? If you can find something that suits your style, maybe even 8C. Paul B says, Manny, can you believe it? I never come near Zelda also. What? Paul B, you never played freaking Zelda? Are you freaking serious? From time to time, I play the old school RuneScape. Never played RuneScape. I know it. I know RuneScape, but I never played it myself. I like the economy it has. Never seen this in a game. Maybe, yeah. I also really liked the economic aspect of World of Warcraft, believe it or not. Yeah. That was always fun to see how the prices went up and down for different stuffs in the auction house and stuff like that. So it's funny because we live in a world where video games are pretty demonized. It's quite of a polarized topic as well, right? One people say, yeah, but video games are amazing, especially now when we have to sit at home all the time and we need something to distract ourselves. We have these artificial economies. It's fun. It's interesting. I mean, people make a living playing video games nowadays, right? So it's crazy what kind of market is there for this kind of stuff. But then there's obviously also the crowd that says you should not basically waste your time in front of the screen all the time. Yeah. But I mean, what are we doing? The people who are not playing video games, they might be watching social media all the time or what they do. Yeah. So in some sort of way, we are all connected with the internet nowadays, and there's really hardly a way around it. Good or a bad thing. You can love it or hate it, but yeah, we have to make the best out of this situation. But anyway, it's kind of a discussed subject, right? If it's something good or something bad. I liked video games for this sort of aspect. I liked the Zelda thing. The Zelda thing was what really introduced me into the role-playing game genre, so to speak, because Zelda, which I only realized later, I mean, I played Zelda when I was like 13, 14 years old or something, back on the good old Nintendo 64. Can you believe it? On the console, I had the originals. I had the original Ocarina of Time and the original Majora's Mask. Yeah, what can I say? Maybe I lost my train of thought now a little bit. But I really liked it. It introduced me into role-playing games. That's what I wanted to say. Running around with a shield and a sword, fighting monsters and stuff. I mean, that's amazing. Come on, who doesn't like that? Especially if you're that kind of age. So it was amazing to play these games through. And of course, I think games like these laid the groundwork, really sealed the groundwork for the success of later MMOs, mass multiplayer online RPGs, yeah, like World of Warcraft, for example. So I think a lot of people who later really got addicted into WoW and played that a lot, which I did as well. I played it a lot. I played it until I played it from the Burning Crusade up to the Lich King, actually. And then I stopped because then the quality of the game dropped quite significantly, I have the impression. But Anyway, I played that as well because I was into the role playing stuff and everything, and I loved the economy of World of Warcraft as well, the auction houses and stuff like that. I loved studying the classes, getting the metas on how to play your class perfectly and stuff like that. Of course, I was a tank. I played a Tauren tank, if you want to know. But so I was into the whole video game thing as well. But if you haven't played Zelda, man, you should definitely play it. Yeah, play Ocarina of Time and freaking Majora's Mask. Download an emulator and get it done, because these games, I mean, later in video game history, okay, we're approaching times, can you believe it, where you can study this stuff at a university, okay? You can go to a freaking university and study creating video games, yeah? Soon enough, we're gonna have a subject called video game history or something like that. And I would be really surprised if Zelda's Ocarina of Time and Zelda's Majora's Mask is not part of this subject, video game history, because it's such good games. Really ahead of their time. Yeah, ahead of their time. So if you haven't played them, go ahead, man. Try them out. Marius Kitzmüller says, thanks for your answer, Manny. I think you mean Merz. Yes, true. The Merz, of course. The Merz, yeah. You can also resole bigger shoes there, like trekking shoes and stuff like that. I already resold my shoes there a few times, and as you said, it was not perfect and quite expensive. Exactly. Always enjoy your streams. Yeah, glad to hear, man. Yeah, try Saltic. I tell you, try Saltic. You're not going to be disappointed. They do an amazing resoling service. A lot of climbing gyms actually also have these kind of collective stuffs where you can put your shoes in and then they send it as a hold and you don't have to pay shipping and stuff like that. So, I mean, now it's hard because climbing gyms are closed. So you got to get active yourself. Paul B says, thanks, man. I really value the honest content. That's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do, right? I mean, why should I make a live stream channel when I then, don't want to be able to tell my fully honest truth on the live streams, right? It's not monetized as well, so there is no income in danger here. So if YouTube decides to kick me off the platform for my live stream channel, then they should go ahead, yeah? At least the damage is now away from the main channel, so to speak. I see your point with no political solution. I think the same way. So you think in the end protests are useless? Again, as I said, I don't think they are useless because, and I said this also previously, the people are not buying it anymore. And something which the media, the mass media, that is the MSM, the mainstream media, what they are really good at is shaping the perception of the masses, yeah? Not so much the opinions, but what they really want to achieve is actually shaping the perception of of course, also the opinions, but they do that by shaping the perception of the people. Now, what they want you to believe. So let's say, okay, yeah, you did your research. You found out, okay, the waxy stuff. It's new technology. There is the shortest approval time in pharmaceutical history, yada yada yada, and you get quite skeptic, which is only common sense really at this point. So you get quite skeptic about this stuff. Now, what the MSM wants you to believe now is that you are alone with this belief out there. There is nobody thinking like you. You're a conspiracy theorist. You are a danger to the society, essentially, yeah? You are the problem. You are alone. And what these protests show is that, and this is also why they don't get any coverage, or very little coverage. Very little coverage, relatively speaking, to the significance of these protests, because they were actually illegalized, yeah, which is something pretty crazy when you think about it. But anyway, so they get a little coverage by the media, obviously. because they want to shape this perception by the people that they are alone with their skepticism, yeah, which makes them follow the crowd a little easier. Now, if we would put down our masks, if we actually started to talk with people again, if we would actually talk to friends, families, all the things that are forbidden now, essentially, we would find out very quickly that we are not alone with this belief. And these, again, as I said previously, what we see, and we see this in the revolution of the internet and stuff like that, people are just simply not buying it anymore. Brainwashing people into a certain direction got a lot harder with the internet because information is just so accessible from everywhere. Yeah, from you can go to the you don't need any paid journalist anymore to tell you what happened somewhere. You can just simply go there yourself, look up the the local camera on the street, the local guy who filmed it with his iPhone, and watch what happens there. Watch what happened there actually. Yeah. So you can get an accurate picture. You can get an accurate picture of a lot of happenings nowadays, which would have been completely impossible only 10, 20 years ago. Yeah. So it's harder to brainwash people like that. And protests like these show other people, which are also small, who are also small, that they are not alone. And this is important. And this is important because the media tells them that they are alone and they are crazy. They are dangerous. They are conspiracy theorists. They should freaking throw their opinions into the garbage bin and accept what they are being told. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good that people are not buying it anymore. But in terms of how will they change the development with these kind of protests, that's a different story. Yeah. And you gotta be I mean, I've lived in Vienna for the longest time myself. I've witnessed a lot of protests myself. I know these kind of people, and not to talk bad about them or something. And I'm sure that on these kind of protests, people were actually walking the streets who have never been involved in a protest before. Yeah, because actually the rights that are taken away from them is actually quite significant this time, and people are getting kind of aware of this kind of stuff now. Um, but yeah, the people who you find on a protest, usually they like to protest. Okay, they like to protest, they like to shout, they like to voice their opinion. It's not really so much about the change or anything, but it's rather about protesting, about just doing the protest, right? And in terms of how much it really prevents the current developments that are going on in the world right now, this is where I'm skeptic. Yeah, but of course it's better than nothing, man. It's better than nothing. Yeah, I would say it's better to starve the beast, essentially. Yeah, move away from the city, pay as little taxes as possible, because that's what you're supporting with your taxes. Yeah, you're supporting the state, the the regulations, the what else it is. Yeah. um you know the deal. Very, very big topic. Bogdan Lazar says, do you know Veganism? Yes, I do know Veganism. Not personally or anything, but of course I stumbled upon him on the internet. Paul B says, at first I think everyone is on their own journey and the people will see that just Kurzmus weg is not the solution. However, it is a start. And I think the C thing forces a lot of people to think about this stuff. Yeah, I mean, for me, the entrance into thinking that things are not always how they are made up to be by the mainstream media. For me, this actually started when I got out of veganism. Yeah, because I realized that the vegan agenda, the vegan story, that you can live plant-based and we're gonna be happy, hippie, trippy until the rest of our lives, and we're gonna produce so little CO2, and we're gonna be so climate neutral and so climate friendly and all that wonderful rainbow unicorn stuff. when I saw that breaking apart, this story, because I think, to be completely honest, it is very hard to be 100% healthy on a 100% honestly 100% no cheating vegan diet, which is what I did the longest time when I did my vegan thing. um, I think it's pretty impossible. Yeah, so it's a lot better to actually live sustainably, live on the countryside, have your animal products, have your locally raised and well treated animals. Yeah, it's a lot better for the environment, it's a lot better for everything, yeah, for the people. uh, but of course, this makes people independent. This makes people independent from supermarkets. It makes them independent from processed foods. The system does not want that. The system wants people being dependent on supermarkets, being dependent on the fake meats, on the processed garbage, carbs, and plant oils, which are so cheap to produce and so easily sold. Yeah, so easy to make profits off of. Uh, and I realized that the vegan agenda and stuff like that has a lot to do with that, essentially. Now, when you're realizing that, and you're realizing, okay, but why is there more and more vegan propaganda out there? Where is the funding for this coming from? How is big seed corporations like Monsanto, which partnered with the biggest pharma corporations like Bayer and stuff like that, how is this all making sense, right? How is the genetical modification of plants and stuff like that making sense? When you get into all of this stuff and you see that this is actually pretty much a nightmare that's going on, yeah, well, then you start asking questions. Then you start essentially asking, what else is BS? If the vegan thing is BS, what else is BS? And then you get down, a couple of things, and you do your research. Of course, not everything is just because something is anti-system and yada yada doesn't mean it's necessarily something good, and the system is always bad. You have to look at it from a differentiated point of view, obviously. Yeah. Again, it's not that easy, but things are definitely not how they are. How they are put forward by the mainstream media outlets. Yeah. Fabian Rivero says, hello again, Manny. What's up, Fabian? Tomorrow some classmates and I have final university exam. Good luck, man. Could you wish us luck? Yeah, good luck, man. I think my classmates will like it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hey, crush it, guys. Crush it. You will crush it, I think. Have the best exam of your life. I wish you all the best. Shoram says, everyone in the YouTube game did on 20 mil. Everyone in the YouTube game did it on 20 mil. You mean the 9C test. I never project any route for more than a session, but I should have a good technique. I climbed for 12 years. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe you should start projecting. I mean, if you want to find out at some point what you're capable of, you will have to start projecting anyway, right? Let's see here. Paul P keeps bringing. He just keeps delivering, man. He just keeps delivering the awesome questions. Do you think there will be a mandatory vacuum cleaners in Austria? And what do you now with your face shield? What do you know with your face shield? Do you still use this instead of masks? No, I threw the face shield into the trash bin a long time ago, and now I use a Dreieckstuch, actually, from the good old Dreieckstuch from the Bundesheer, from the military, from the Austrian military. I still have it's kind of a towel like that, and you can very easily bind it. I think it's better than a mask, even. Honestly, it's better than a mask because it shields everything from here downwards, right? With a mask, you're breathing through the little slots and everywhere. With this thing, with the towel, I'm completely shielded. Yeah, I have never seen anybody complaining about that because it's probably even safer than a mask anyway, which is completely pointless anyway. But anyway, yeah, different story. Yeah, that's what I use. Do you think there will be mandatory stuff? No, at least not anytime soon. But of course, they will make it mandatory from the back door. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to go to certain, events. You won't be able to get certain jobs. It is super easily done like that. It's already happening. It's already happening. Certain hospitals have already stated that they won't take new stuff that's not vacuum cleaned. Yeah. Especially, of course, in the medical industry and stuff. It's the medical jobs. It's gonna be very mandatory through the back door. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. So, little side tip here, little side note. If you wanna be, I mean, if you do not intend to get vacuum cleaned, uh, you should, in a reasonable time frame, be at that place where you wanna be for a longer time from now on. Yeah, because they're gonna be mandatory for traveling, of course. Yeah, that's the problematic world we are living in, but that's the reality. And Jordan Heller says, I don't know how well he's doing now, but Adam Onra did around 3 seconds front lever in 2017. That's pretty impressive, actually. Would be really impressive because he's quite tall, and I think that moves like these, especially if you have also some decent legs, which I think he does. I mean, he's not the stick figure 18-year-old anymore that he used to be, right? Then I think it's actually not that easy. A clean front lever, that is. Nice form and stuff. Shoram says, most of the people did it on the normalized 20 millimeter edge of the campus board. Normalized 20 millimeter edge of the campus board. Yeah, okay. So I gotta try my best to find something comparable in the climbing gym in Fürstenfeld. Again, I really would like to make this 9C climbing test to get it done, but I don't have, believe it or not, a 20 millimeter edge here in this flat. Yeah, and I don't even have anything that comes close to it. Yeah, I think that the closest I have is the 15 millimeter edges, the side edges on the Beastmaker, which are these guys here, right? But I think in Fürstenfeld we have something that is comparable with that. Yeah, so I should get it done there. And then we have Paul B, I think, with the bottom of the chat question: have you ever been censored? No, nothing beyond the realms of self-censorship. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I could easily kill this live stream outlet here by just simply saying everything I know, everything I heard, about certain topics here without any without any restrictions on myself, so to speak. But I don't intend to do that. Yeah, I like having it cozy like that. Yeah, I give you my opinion if you're asking the question. I'm not gonna lie or anything. I mean, that's just not my style. Yeah, I want to be able to talk freely and openly here. That's the whole purpose of the thing. And if they want to kick me out for that, okay, so be it. But I'm not gonna go out and scream everything from me in a crazy way. So I guess I'm self-censoring a little bit here, but not really to any significant degree by YouTube or stuff like that. Yeah, I never got an email or something. Okay, this video is too edgy. You have to take it down, or yada yada yada. Not even by my audience, by the way. Although my audience disagrees on a number of points that I bring up sometimes. Which is, of course, completely okay. I enjoy the debates. I enjoy the discussion around certain topics. I don't shy away from it. I actually like it a lot. but I never got censored. Yeah, I never had to take a video down, never got demonetized or anything like that on the main channel. And this channel is not monetized as well, anyway. Yeah, so doesn't really matter here. Jordan Heller says, I live in Israel and everyone here is getting vacuumed because of exactly what you said. Shops and restaurants will only be open for these people and only they can travel freely. Yeah, exactly. That's how it's gonna be. That's gonna be the nice new world. Of course, this is against human rights. Okay, this is against human rights because as a human, you have the right to travel freely. Guess what? Interesting. So actually, by limiting that to only people who are vacuumed, you're taking away one of their human rights. Yeah. Also, a lot of these regulations that they put upon people and stuff like that, they are unconstitutional. At least very often in countries that have a constitution. Yeah, if countries have a constitution, most of these regulations are actually unconstitutional. And it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out in the future, man. Who knows how many lawsuits are going to be won against their governments because they acted in an unconstitutional way in their countries. Yeah, this happened in the past. This is not the first time this happens. Okay, this happens in the past. So I think at this point, it is also quite useful to be aware of the judiciary, of the juridical situation of the country you live in, because just because they put out some new regulations, which they stamp together super quickly, because oh my god, the case numbers are higher again, we need to do something about it, and then they throw out something new, but they don't go through this super accurately anymore, and they step on constitutional things left, right, and center. So it's interesting times, man. It's interesting times, really. Paul B says, what do you think will happen if someone from Austria is in Mexico with a 3 months visa and the visa runs out and the person cannot go anywhere without vacuum cleaning and will not do that? Interesting questions. Interesting questions. If you are somewhere and you can't get out anymore without getting vacuumed, well, this is a mandatory vacuum cleaning then, or not? Is it not? You're essentially imprisoned in a country then. Maybe not your home country, which is another way of imprisoning people in their home countries, right? If you can't move out of your country anymore, it's the same thing. That's why I say you better be sure to be in the country that you like to be in for a very long time in the near future. And, get some sort of working visa there, get some sort of job there or whatnot, maybe build a livelihood there, if that's what you do. Maybe you are already in the country you'd like to live in, you are already at home or something. For me, at the moment, this is just simply Austria. I think that this is the more reasonable thing to do at this point in time. But who knows what's going to happen in the future, how crazy they're going to get. So, as I said, we live in interesting times. You got to be aware of a lot of variables there, and if it's getting too crazy, then act accordingly. Nick S says, hi Manny, when you did your Flatanger trip, did you do any other good Norwegian climbing areas on the way which you would recommend? I can absolutely recommend Hell near Trondheim. Amazing limestone crag, and absolutely unique in Norway, I think, because in Norway what you usually have is granite. I mean, I think the whole of Norway is standing on a huge big granite slab, and all of these fjords and everything, I think they are granite as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was granite. And Hell is actually a pretty cool limestone crag. So it's kind of reminiscent of the limestone even in east of Austria. And it's funny. It was funny to actually travel through these granite landscapes and everything, and then ending up in Trondheim and finding a limestone crag just like we have it at home near Trondheim. That's a cool thing to visit on the way up if you're going there. Definitely recommend it. Very good crag. Lola J, that panda will knock you out, bro. Panda. I survived. I survived. Paul B says, Jordan Heller, did you also get the vacuum cleaner? And how did the people take it? Mokus727 says, the most honest philosopher in your opinion. Oh, the most honest philosopher? I think the philosophers, I mean, a philosopher that is worth his sell, though, so to speak. I think he has to be honest or not. A dishonest philosopher is a little bit of an oxymoron, I think. But we could talk about the philosopher that was the most correct with his statements. But there's a number of really, really good statements out there. There's a number of really good statements out there. I don't know, man. Plato, maybe. Nietzsche had some really good stuff. Nietzsche had some really, really good stuff about Christianity and stuff like that. Can you actually call him a philosopher? I don't know. Maybe it's just more of an author, really. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in this kind of. I know a couple of sayings and lessons, so to speak, but I'm not an expert in that field. Mokus727 says Lola J says one has to go to Switzerland, Ireland, Thailand, wherever you want, man. I wouldn't recommend Switzerland so much, maybe, except the super rural countryside. Yeah, that's amazing. Any remarkable side effects you notice in people near you? Yeah, that would be interesting as well. One has to go. Lola J is on fire here. One has to go. Viking warriors, Spartan warriors, ninja warriors. The Viking war. imagine a mainstream media TV series like that, Viking warriors, and then you have to jump from you have to hold an axe and a shield, and you jump from one ice cube to the next, which is swimming in ice cold water and stuff like that. And then you have to smash your way through an ice wall and stuff like that. That would be funny. Paul B says, do you read books or prefer videos? Any book recommendations? Actually, we're reading quite a lot of books recently. I can recommend a lot. Hermann Hesse, of course. He talks a lot about the duality between the emotional, the physical, emotional, animalistic side of human beings, and then on the other side, the spiritual, the ratio, the rationalistic side of human beings. This duality, if you want to get to the core of this duality, I think Hermann Hesse is just amazing with all of his works. Nazis und Goldmund, Siddhartha, the Steppenwolf. Good stuff, really good stuff. If you're into the really cool shamanistic, esoteric, Indianic side of things, I can really much recommend a lot Carlos Castaneda's books, especially The Journey to Ixtlan. Very highly recommended. Amazing book, amazing read. We just, Mona and I, we just completed this recently. The way we do it is we read loudly from the book, and this way always one of us reads and the other one gets the story as well, by just simply listening. This is an amazing strategy, I feel. There's so many good books, man. I think I've talked about books already previously during a live stream. I also read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, also good stuff. Yeah. And apart from that, I really like non-fictional stuff. I think that's what it was it called, right? The Sachbücher, where it's about, physiology, metabolism, sports nutrition, and stuff like that. It's also really interesting. I like it. Do you read books or prefer videos? I mean, obviously, videos are always the preferred format. I think with anything really, because we are just very visual beings. This is why YouTube is also such an amazing tool, or video hosting sites in general are just such an amazing thing, because you can learn so much from that. Yeah, you can decentralize knowledge so well with these kind of sites, because video is just such a good uh, learning platform. Yeah, you can learn very well by looking at what somebody else is doing. This is how we learn from other human beings. Yeah, and by making video broadcasting possible through the internet, this becomes available to a lot more people. And yeah, this is the leading front of the internet revolution, I would say. Lola J says one has to go genetic fallacy, genetic engineering. Love it. Nick S says, thanks, man. Apologies if you already answered this, but would take a vacuuming if it was the only way you could travel abroad? No. Because I would be very, very skeptic if somebody would force me to take a vacuuming like that. I mean, you gotta realize that if the vacuuming is so awesome, if it's so healthy, if it's so safe and blah blah blah, if it's immunizing you so nicely, then why do they have to force it on the people? Why do they have to force it on the people, right? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. And the forcing itself, it's also not making a lot of sense to me. Why not keep it voluntary? And the people who are afraid, who want to immunize themselves, well, they can go and get a vacuum cleaner, right? They can go and get a freaking vacuum cleaner, a freaking Tyson 2500 if they want so, or I don't know. But they can do that, right? And then there is no need for them to be afraid anymore, because they are protected by the vaccine, or aren't they? Oh, now I said the word. Damn. Okay, the algorithm already is watching very closely now. But anyway, they can get the vacuuming if they want to. Yeah? I don't see why making it mandatory. I don't see the broader usefulness in a pandemic situation like this in any way. And that alone, that it's becoming mandatory from the back door, despite that, makes me extremely skeptic, as well as a lot of other people. Yeah. So we're gonna see how it turns out. Lola J says, I love that idea. I would watch. Jordan Heller says, Paul B, I did get it. Nice. Finally, we've got some first-hand experiences here. Paul B says, I did get it. The vacuum cleaner. Okay. And my mother got very sick for a few days after the second vacuum cleaner. Okay. Millions of people already got the vacuum cleaner without any serious side effects. So I decided to get it. Okay. Thanks for your insights, man. Thanks for your honesty. You see first-hand reports like this is where it's at, man. That's cool. Lola J says, one has to go to R2D2, C3PO. I think I'm more the C3PO kind of guy. Paul B says, did you notice the Wim Hof ice bath hype in Austria? Yes, totally, man. Yes, totally. People are jumping in the snow left, right, and center, man. And the thing is, we had a lot of snow recently, right? We're having constant snow here in Austria for a long time now, for months actually. And we had very cold periods where we had like 2 meters of snow, 3. somewhere in some valleys in eastern Tyrol or something. It got really cold and there was a lot of snow. And we still have snow here in the in the East Styrian area, yeah, which is quite significant. So people are jumping in the freaking ice waters and snows left, right, and center. What's going on here? I mean, yeah, there is definitely a Wim Hof hype in Austria going on at the moment. Actually, a friend of mine, quite close friend of mine, he jumps into the snow himself all the time now. Would I recommend it? I mean, it's cool if you're able to do that, if you overcome your instincts, so to speak. But in the end, yeah, dude, it's not necessary to be healthy or anything. Yeah, in fact, it probably only costs you calories, ramps up your metabolism, maybe costs you a little bit of lifetime. But who knows? Yeah, maybe it's also boosting your immune system or whatnot. But quite fair to be quite fair. Who knows if you're not just boosting your immune system because you're damaging your body because you're jumping in the freaking snow when it's already super cold outside. And of course, the body has to deal with that situation in some sort. You're releasing adrenaline, ramping up immune system. Would you then argue that this is something healthy, that this is something protective? I wouldn't be so sure about that, yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a hype about that. Jordan Heller says, I also don't want to be locked down in my home while people walk around freely. Yeah, but this is it shouldn't be made. Of course, we can see that this is a good reason why they use social peer pressure then, right? To okay, so you have it, you don't have it, you can do this and that, you cannot do this and that. This is fascism. Okay, this is modern day fascism essentially. I personally myself, I don't really connect fascism necessarily to right wing ideologies, although right wing ideologies used fascism quite a lot, to put their agendas forward, their view of the world forward. But in the end, for me, fascism is the repression of a certain group of people because they are different than another certain group of people, coming from another certain group of people. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter really in which direction this goes. Now, if you distinguish a person who got a vacuum cleaner from a person who didn't get a vacuum cleaner, then you are essentially just doing that. Yeah, you are discriminating in a crazy freaking questionable way onto something on top of that, which is not even like it's not even. Some vacuum cleaners have an immunizing certainty of what, 60% or something, 50%. So many question marks, man. So many question marks. This is such a huge topic. There is so many problems with the testing, with the PCR test, the repetitions they use on the PCR testing, because actually you can, if you run through the PCR test with enough repetitions, you can detect a virus. You can detect anything, yeah, with almost certainty. So because there are no thresholds like this, it's hard whether something is positive or negative. There is so many question marks, man. So many questionable things going on with this thing. Yeah, I don't wonder at all why people are so freaking skeptic about everything. Paul B says, "Are you interested in shamanism? Did not thought that." Shamanism. If you're following the stream for a longer time, then you might have realized that I am a very big fan of this general concept that naturalistic ways of living and following the laws of nature, in principle, when it comes to lifestyle, when it comes to humans organizing and stuff like that, societies, is generally a good thing. It is also probably generally a good thing when it comes to upholding health, when it comes to longevity. Performance, not so much, because if we want to have performance, we kind of have to deviate from our natural lifestyle, let's say from our natural diet, quite a bit. Because I think we have to incorporate carbs if we want to actually reach our performance limit. And this is something that is definitely unnatural. The availability of carbohydrates nowadays is something that's definitely unnatural. Yeah. The interesting question, though, is nature always better? Is nature really always better? Yeah. Or is nature just really not a harsh, bad, competitive environment where you get easily killed, you get easily replaced by something that's fitter than you? And we, because we're humans, we're so smart, and we manage to develop out of this primal, primitive state of being, state of living. That's the big question. Yeah, I lean very much towards, and this is also why I studied biology and not medicine, for example. I lean very much towards to this kind of thinking pattern that naturalistic lifestyles are just in many ways a lot better than what we have come up with civilization and the domestic man, so to speak. Yeah, we are the domestic version of our past selves. Our past selves, our ancestors, if you want to speak like that, they were wild. They lived a lot shorter lives, very likely. But their fire, I think, burned a lot more intensely. Yeah, that's the thing, really. The fire that burns double as bright only burns half as long. So what do you want? Do you maybe want to live double as long and live a sorta cool, but also sorta boring, civilized, domesticated lifestyle? Or do you want to really go balls to the walls, really have it intensely, no matter what, fighting in wars, capturing women, getting women stolen from you, like they live still in some tribal communities out there, yeah, in Africa and whatnot. People still live these kind of lifestyles, and they are the happiest freaking people, living predominantly on an animal-based diet as well, by the way. Yeah. So there's a lot to this stuff, and this is I came to this kind of topic because you talked about shamanism. Yeah. You only find shamanism in these kind of societies, these kind of modern shamans, which you find in the civilized world, which are self-declarated shamans or whatnot. I'm not sure whether they actually have a real connection to what it means to being a shaman in the first place. Yeah. But yeah. So this is the general conflict that we always have here. Is the naturalistic way of life, is it better than what we have come up with, than what we have, from a pure fitness standpoint, from pure we are still nature. We are still the product of natural things. Even this civilization and stuff like that, it comes from our nature, from the human nature, from the human trend to always invent something new, always invent something a little bit more practical, making life a little bit easier and stuff like that. And what we have to realize is that when we, with our civilized inventions, with our weapons and with our knowledge and stuff like that, we go to any tribal community and wipe them, unfortunately, off the face of the earth in just a second. So from a harsh nature's perspective, our domesticated, civilized lifestyle is obviously fitter than this, tribalistic lifestyle. Although, and that's the interesting stuff, it produces less happier humans. Yeah. So for the first time in history, maybe we are finding a lifestyle which is fitter than one which produces actually more happiness. and we eradicate it off the face of the earth because we cannot really get out of our skins, right? We cannot stop this development anymore. It has been started. There's no going back now. And we're steering towards a future with less happiness, very likely, eradicating what is more happiness, what is more freedom, more all of these good values. But because it's fitter, we just can't stop eradicating it. Yeah, it's really fascinating when you think about this. Man, the comments keep rolling in. We're going for 2 hours already. My voice starts cracking, man. I'm gonna First of all, I'm gonna take a sip from the live stream receptacle. Let's see if we find something cool. Lola J says one has to go Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Volume 1. Definitely Pulp Fiction, man. Pulp Fiction is where it's at. Best movie in the world. Don't people ask the question why we need the vacuum cleaner to be free and there is no evidence I cannot spread with it? It just mildens the dirt. Good point, yeah, good point. One has to go scuba diving, skydiving. If I could be 100% sure that I survive it, I would go skydiving, I think. What do you do if you want to leave Austria because it gets too crazy and you cannot do it without the Dyson 2000? Good question, man. I can't talk about this publicly. In the end, okay? Let's just hope I won't need the freaking Dyson 2000, man. It's really so crazy that you even have to think about all of this stuff, yeah? This is how far we have come. Interesting times. Lola J says, oh, I'm keeping R2D2. C3PO can translate, which is cool, but R2D2 is cuter. Yeah, maybe. About fascism. I cannot believe how the anti-fascistische Aktion protests against the protesters today. Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy. It's the opposite world. What the F, man? The so-called anti-fascist protest against the peaceful crowd protesting against fascism. Yeah, man. It's really like you're sitting in your chair, you're leaning back and just enjoying the show, man. It's just what's unfolding there is just amazing. Nick S says, I agree with your point, but I know when push comes to shove and I want to eat cheese and climb boulders in Fontainebleau, I'll just be like, yeah, vacuum clean the crap out of me with the freaking Dyson 5000 if it is necessary, right? Yeah, man. If I would have to decide between Fontainebleau and the freaking Dyson 2000, that's a tough decision, man. It's a tough decision, but I would let it go, man. I think I would let font go. Because who knows? Then I got side effects of the freaking Dyson 2000, of shoving the Dyson 2000 in the various body parts of mine, and would be no fun times in font then anyway, right? I mean, yeah. Lola J says, one has to go ale, lager, or stout. I would say lager. Chat is jumping down all the time. Jordan Heller says, Paul B, there's pretty widespread conspiracy in my country that the vacuum cleaners are mandatory because they want to vacuum everyone with micro so they can repress us. The real reason they want to vacuum clean us is because there is an upcoming election and they want high popularity. Okay, interesting. But how does the vacuum cleaners give them popularity? Is the people who are put up to vote, are they lobbyists from the vacuum cleaner industry or something? Upcoming election, the ones with high popularity. I mean, I heard about this luciferase thing as well. There seems to be some sort of because you know what a lot of people say, of course, is yeah, okay, so they're gonna make it mandatory. Should they make it mandatory, right? The vacuum cleaners, should they make it mandatory from the back door? Should they make it mandatory just openly? What I'm gonna do is I'm just simply go to my local vacuum cleaner seller, aka the doctor, and I'm just simply gonna buy a vacuum cleaner there. He's gonna write a beautiful letter. This guy bought a vacuum cleaner. I get my letter, and then I can move freely, right? So the problem with that is that they are working, of course, now on a like digital vacuum cleaner passport. So if you didn't get the actual vacuum cleaner, well, they're gonna see it in some sort of list that you didn't actually get it, right? Which is problematic. Then there is also this thing called this. Apparently, there is an enzyme. I mean, this is out there stuff. Okay, I have no idea whether this is actually true or not, but apparently there is an enzyme in the vacuum cleaner which is called luciferase. Luciferase is an enzyme that is able to glow. Yeah, it's able to glow, and who knows? Maybe they're gonna use this enzyme somehow to be able to confirm whether you got the actual vacuum cleaner. Because of course, the luciferase is only gonna be in your body if you got the actual vacuum cleaner, right? Um, I don't think it's about microchips or anything. The microchips is already way in the past. They have newer technology, I think, to do this kind of stuff. Mr. Yo Song Probinsanyo Ciano, what's up? Aloha, watching from the Philippines. Welcome to the stream, my friend. The beauty of the internet. We're streaming from beautiful Styria to the beautiful Philippines. I hope you're doing fine, my friend. I hope you're doing fine. Joram says, in a way, natural selection selected us to be healthy and performant. Because you need performance to catch your food. True words, true words. Lola J says, Tamsak. Whatever that means. Mr. Our Philippine friend says, I feel like in the quadrant in this new normal. Cool, cool. Paul B says, man, the self-declared shamans, I don't believe it. I just rented the song that calls you home about ayahuasca shamanism if you want to watch it. I have rented it until tomorrow night. I can send it. Is this a film or something? The song that... Let me just quickly Google that. The song that calls you home. Documentary. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Is a personal, scientific, and mystical exploration of Amazonian curanderismo with a focus on ayahuasca and master plants. Okay. I'm not an expert. Yeah, I can't really say whether that's truth or not truth or bogus or whatnot. What I can say is with regards to shamanism, like if you watch traditional European culture, you will see that it's actually very science based, very 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 rational, very just simply analyzing nature and nature's laws, analyzing the seasons of the year, analyzing when it's best to prepare, when it's best to harvest certain goods, when it's best to, for example, or um, how to bring up children, for example, and everything like that. Yeah, how to deliver children and stuff like this. How this falls into the life cycle and the year cycle, um when children are weaned and all this kind of stuff. It's really interesting stuff. Yeah, they asked themselves these questions already way back in the day, and came up with certain rituals, certain stories, myths, which essentially evolve around these topics, right? Fertility, health, essentially anything that's important for a society who wants to be able to live in balance with its surroundings. What people fail to realize nowadays is, though, that even in traditional European times, which is pre-Christianity essentially, we already had systems like that. Whereas nowadays the standard average, domesticated civilized guy on the street will tell you that Christianity is the belief system of Europeans, right? The original belief systems of Europeans, because it is here for such a long time already. But of course, it is completely alien to this place. Yeah, it doesn't really belong here. It's also coming from a completely different place, with completely different environmental surroundings and different circumstances. Yeah. We had completely different belief systems here, and we had sort of things like these shamans. We had these midwives and stuff like that, who helped with child delivery, who helped, telling the myths to the newer generations so that they know what's up, so that they are able to live in tune with their surroundings, essentially. This is why a lot of people nowadays here in these Western civilizations long for this kind of spirituality in the Eastern mindsets, because they still have the reincarnation, they still have these more naturalistic beliefs, if you want to call it like that, which we had in our original culture as well, on our own. I can send it. Yeah, man. I don't know. Would you be interested in a documentary about shamanism in the Amazon? And she says yes. You can hit me up on my plant-based climbing at gmail.com if it's no problem for you to send it or stuff like that. Yeah, maybe we would check it out. Lola J says, natural occurs in an artificially shaped, human impacted world. But then again, humans are naturally occurring, organic and not machines, exactly. It is hard to separate the two. Agreed, Pulp Fiction had a more complex plot. If you blinked, you missed things. True. Absolutely. Something like, you gotta realize, once you watch Pulp Fiction, you basically can't go to the cinema anymore, because what you will see nowadays in the cinema is so much worse. So it's like a completely different level than what movie making used to be. And I'm not particularly a super great Tarantino fan or anything, but this work was just amazing. From a filmmaking perspective. Also, I did a lot of videos myself. Did a lot of video making, video editing myself. So, I have a decent perspective on how he composed certain scenes, and also from a cinematographic point of view and stuff. Best film that has been made so far, in my opinion. Not only from the plot, but also from the the cinematographic standpoint. Just the freaking conversation between Vincent Vega and Samuel L. Jackson there at the beginning of the film, before they rock into the into the scene with those young guys eating the fast food. Yeah, it was just amazing. Damn, I think my voice is really going down now. One has to go classic watch, smartwatch. Classic watch, obviously. Benedict Barbinger, do you know those roofers, those guys and women that climb very high buildings, climb and jump around the edge without safety measures? Would you do that? Yes, I know this kind of stuff. Uh, well, the problem is it legal, right? Is it legal even? If it is legal, then mm, yeah, why not? Why not? Actually, I did some sort of similar stuff way in the past in Vienna on some sort of building site. Not sure if I can actually talk about it here on live stream, but on the opposite of the Schwedenplatz, there was actually a pretty huge building site for a very long time because they renovated or built completely new. I'm not completely sure, but they made a pretty big building there. New modernistic glass bunker essentially, and they had a really huge crane there standing for a long, long time, and it was pretty easily accessible. And then one night, I just simply checked it out a bit. I mean, there's ladders up that thing and everything, and you had an amazing view over the city during the night on this thing. So, yeah, not sure if that's legal, yeah, but I think it's not too big of a deal anyway. You're not hurting anybody except yourself potentially, right? So you got to be careful. But my vote is ale. Ale that's pale. Nice. Paul B says, and I think if we go the way of the Dyson 2000, it does not end there. Next year, you need the Dyson 5000. Absolutely. Freaking absolutely. You see, the problem with these Dysons is it's planned obsolescence, right? Planned obsolescence. And this, ironically, is not only for these Dysons, but also for the real Dysons, obviously. So you always need the next Dyson after some time, right? The next Dyson 5000. And I've talked about these kind of mechanisms before, which is incredibly profitable for the Dyson, the vacuum cleaner industry, right? I mean, how beautiful is that? The virus. Oh no, sorry. We just found out the virus changes every year. That's unfortunate. Now you're gonna need a new Dyson every year. Yeah, because obviously your Dyson is not gonna handle the new virus anymore. So you need the new Dyson 5000 to handle the virus the next year. And so it goes on and goes on and goes on, like with the other disease, the flu. Yeah. um, for which I would also not get vaccinated, get vacuum cleaned, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, obviously they're gonna roll it out like that. One has to go. Mates named Chuck. Mates named Chadwick. You've got good questions, Lola J, I must say. I would say Chuck. Jordan Heller. It gives them popularity because they want to say that they got rid of the big C. Can you really? I mean, yeah, since it's potentially a completely made up thing because the testing is not really in any way, shape, or form, telling anything because of reasons that I already went into during the stream, for example, but also because the inventor of qPCR already stated back then that this was not used, that this cannot be used for detecting diseases and stuff like that. But also then the threshold thing and whatnot. So we are still not completely sure whether it's just people having flu symptoms get stuck into hospitals and then get completely destroyed there with ventilators and medications and whatnot. Yeah, we still don't know whether this is actually causing increased deaths or stuff like that above anything else. So then the question arises, can you really get rid of something that does not really exist in the first place? Well, you can, because they already managed to hammer this belief into the people's heads that it actually exists. So then they also can hammer the next belief into they already believe it, although for most people, including myself, including everybody I know, nothing has changed. Yeah, if you're walking the streets, nothing has changed. I mean, what about all the bums on the streets of Vienna and stuff like that? They should drop like flies, man. They have no protection, no nothing, no masks. They sleep on top of each other. I mean, maybe not necessarily, but they live in very confined conditions. Let's call it like that. They are constantly exposed to the cold, to the dirt, to the mud, no problems, no problems. Yeah, they just live their lives. They continue living their lives. If you wouldn't even tell them that something is different, they wouldn't even notice anything different. Yeah. So if you already got so far that although people do not notice anything different, you can put fear and the belief that there is this horrible boogeyman out there that could catch you, right? It could catch you around the next corner. If you already managed to pump this belief into people's heads, well, then of course, then you can afterwards also pump the belief into their heads that you magically got rid of the problem. Although again, nothing on the street has changed, right? Nothing really ever has changed. Really a clown world, man. Even if it's just temporary, the current prime minister's popularity rose when there were less sick people. One has to go the Matrix one, the Terminator one, the Matrix one. That's an easy one. Matrix, of course, a lot better. Very good stuff, actually. I've been near there. I think that's pretty true. What show in the film? Paul B says, I have been near there. I think that's pretty true. I think I lost your train of thought there a little bit. Pulp Fiction, what do you think was in the suitcase? Good question. Royale with cheese. Royale with cheese, yeah. The crazy French guys. Do you know what they call them there? Royale with cheese. I hardly look at my classic watch. If I want to know the time, I use my cell. Me too. I don't even have a watch. Yeah. But if I would have one, I would definitely have a classic one, obviously. But there's something about a classic watch that's irreplaceable. I love classic watches. You know the things, I actually love the pocket watches like this. Yeah. Pocket watches are just amazing. They just have class, man. I mean, whatever happened to class? Yeah. People are running around with voice detecting digital watches and stuff like that. Come on, that has no style. Where is the freaking style? And again, this is, I mean, we could go back to why Pulp Fiction is such a freaking good movie. Because there's freaking digital watches in Pulp Fiction? Of course not. There's freaking high-level classic pocket watches in Pulp Fiction, or just classic watches in the way how Butch wore it later on his arm, right? I mean, imagine this would be a digital watch. Of course, the film would be completely ruined. It wouldn't make any sense to have such a connection to an item like that. You can't have a connection to an item like a digital watch like that, but you can have it to a classical watch, and because the fine mechanisms that are in this watch and how it all works perfectly together and stuff. This is a precious thing. It is a thing that you can actually build a relationship to, like Butch obviously did during that movie, right? You could not build a relationship to a digital watch like that. What was in the suitcase? In the suitcase was Marcellus' soul, which he probably sold to the devil. That's why the combination to open it is 666, right? You can pass them down to your kids and future generations as keepsakes. Smart watches aren't for me. There you have it. Benedikt Pabinger says, Votivkirche scaffolding, Votivkirche scaffolding is also a good spot. I actually thought about that one already. But you know, when it comes to buildings and stuff like that, I'm always a little bit, especially when it's old buildings, I'm always a little bit scared that stuff breaks off and stuff like that. So you gotta be really careful there, right? You don't want to end up on the title page of the next newspaper. Lola J says, I guess you can pass down smartwatches too. Like people saved the original IBM or Atari consoles. Tech can be keepsake. It is very much dated. The thing is, at this point I would have been very happy if I would actually have kept my original Nintendo 64, because then we could play the actual original Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask if we had a screen, because at the moment we don't even have a TV or a screen apart from our laptops. But I think we could manage this somehow with adapters and stuff like that. But yeah, this would be obviously freaking epic, and I bet this stuff sells now for the tenfold price or something. Yeah, so things like these, even these are getting, they get more valuable with time. I'm keeping Chuck. Chadwick wears button-down shirts. Chuck wears motorcycle boots. Motorcycle boots are fun. Absolutely. Dejan Milchev says, "Hi Manny, that's my first question that I'm asking you. Ha, Dejan, yeah, you're coming out of the dark here. Welcome to the stream. I think I haven't seen your name before. As we all know, everyone has a unique climbing style, and mine is kind of slow and precise, but we all know that climbing faster is more efficient. Well, some climbs force you to climb slowly and precisely, so climbing slowly and precisely is not necessarily a bad thing, depending on the climb you are on, I would say. Is there a benefit to trying to kind of change your climbing style? For example, in my case, will I benefit to try climbing faster? Yes, if you're climbing on something that actually favors a faster climbing style, but you still keep your slow climbing style. So if you're climbing a super precise slab, for example, you will not do very well if you run this thing up. You will sit in the harness very soon, right? But if you're a joggy endurance overhang with big moves and good holds, actually, well, there a fast climbing style will really make a difference. Yeah. So you got to be aware, and this takes experience, of course. You got to be aware of your terrain. Terrain dictates the ideal climbing speed. And being capable of doing both slowly and precisely, and ideally also fastly and precisely, this will give you the greatest results in the end. Yeah. But you have to be aware which terrain prefers what. Overhangs with big holes, endurance stuff, which really lets you get into the flowy climbing like that. This is just predestinated to be climbed super quickly. You can be almost 10 times as fast than compared to your slowest climbing styles, which you would put out on a slab maybe. Yeah, slabs can be freakishly slow, and you can stand on your toes forever on slabs, right? Doesn't even stress your fingers that much. So that's what I would have to say. Yeah, adapt your style accordingly depending on your terrain. Lola J loves the ass off. Yes, pocket watches, the craftsmanship. Absolutely. Yeah. Right, you can build a relationship. That is why I like paper books versus ebooks. Yeah, it's the same story. I mean, have you ever held in your hand a book from the 1800s? You can feel that this is precious stuff, man. I mean, printing books back then, it was not such a easy machinistic thing as it is nowadays, right? And then you had to pay attention because of the leather and everything, that it doesn't get ruined with time, and the pages are kind of bleached out and everything. This stuff has character, right? This is character. There's something about the intimacy of turning pages and feeling the fibers between your fingers. Yeah, absolutely. Although I'm not so much a fan, as I said, of the modern pocketbook style as well. But yeah, I agree that having the real book in your hand really makes a difference. I do like audiobooks, though. I can listen to them while having more organic experiences, like eating dinner, gardening, or taking a walk. One has to go secrets, lies. Secrets, not telling the whole story. Lies, changing the story. Well, obviously, it's secrets, right? I mean, I would lie if I would say that lies would not also be part of our everyday life, right? And in certain circumstances, it's actually better for all participants if there's lies than the truth. Sometimes, not always, though. Yeah, very often we go better with the truth, but sometimes we also just go better with a lie, and it also helps. It not only also often helps the person who lies, but also the person that is being lied to. Yeah, this is something that we must not forget. People people want to be lied to sometimes, and they need to be lied to sometimes. But that's a very deep subject, very deep subject. Yeah, I would rather go with secrets though, not telling the whole story. Yeah, not telling the whole story. Uh, Also very often applied nowadays. Yeah. Morgan Mulholland says, in response to Dayan, I would also say that for training, your anti-style is always good way to become a more rounded climber. Yes, of course. Do mileage on different terrains. Yeah, all various kinds of terrains. Plus, it's super satisfying when you feel like you're getting better at a style you really did not normally enjoy. That is very true. There was actually a phase where I did really start enjoying vertical and slabby climbs, and that was when I was in Seus in the south of France, one of the absolutely most epic rope climbing crags that is out there in Europe. Actually, maybe the most epic rope climbing crag. And what there is, and because this is just such a huge limestone wave, usually the climbs start slightly overhanging, and then they finish up with a vertical section and then a slabby top section. And if you wanted to get your freaking 8A pluses done, your 8As, you would always have to climb a just stupidly annoying vertical section and a freakishly scary top slab section, because the French dudes, they saved a couple of bolts there, man. They did just crazy distances between the bolts. I remember one route, I think it was called what was it called? La Femme Blanche. I think it was La Femme Blanche. There was two, La Femme Noire, the black woman, and then there is La Femme Blanche, the white woman. And I think the black woman is something like 7C plus. They share the same start, 7C plus to the right, 8A plus to the left. And I took the craziest whippers up in this freaking slab of the 8A plus, man. 15-meter falls. Great times. Great times. And I really enjoyed climbing technical and slabby stuff after some time there. Yeah, but I mean, it's also very high class, world class rock, obviously, super compact. It was a lot of fun moving on that stuff. I have a pair of binoculars from the 1800s. I got from an estate sale. Amazing stuff. Before the pandemic, I would sit on my front porch and birdwatch with them while eating breakfast. I miss that. You sound interesting, man. I gotta tell you, you sound like an interesting person. Yeah, good stuff. Do you believe there is a big lie? Restated. What do you think is the biggest lie? Oh, the biggest lie. I mean, there's a couple of things pushed by the mainstream media nowadays, which you could call potentially very big question marks, at least. I mean, would I call them the biggest lies out there? No, not really. The biggest lie in human history, maybe, or lie. I mean, they didn't know any better, so this is not a lie actually as well. I wanted to say now that the biggest lie would have been that they believed that the Earth is flat for a very long time, which it isn't. But actually, we could tell this is the biggest lie, because, as far as I know, the Vikings already knew. But yeah, then yet again, the Vikings were already in 1400 or something. So it's not a lie if you don't know any better, right? They really believed the Earth is flat. They didn't have any proof. So yeah, that doesn't really count. The biggest lie. We could also go into the religious stuff, A very big lie is the certainty with which the Pope gives you the the belief really that there is a God and stuff like that, and that God put these laws upon you. This definitely ruined a lot of people, and still ruins a lot of people, by the way. um, that there is this God out there, and you have to follow his laws, you have to follow his morals, and that the Pope, as an actor, actually states these things with such certainty, whereas in fact Christianity is nothing but a huge company earning billions of dollars with their uh, with their systems and stuff like that. Yeah, this we could call a big lie, for example. If you could have one secret answered, meaning one mystery solved, which one would you choose? One mystery solved, man. Uh, hmm. One mystery solved. That's hard, man. Man, I don't know. There's not really so many mysteries out there. Usually, when I get these kind of questions, these kind of time travel questions, if you would be able to time travel to a certain spot in time, which one would you choose? What is the biggest mystery maybe that I would want to choose to be solved? I would say I would go back in time around 10 to 20,000 years, and I would be very, very, very curious to see how people in different spots on the planet have lived in that age. This is kind of a mystery for me because there's many different stories actually. I mean, there is obviously one propagated mainstream story, but then there is very, very many other opinions there, which are also very well founded. And also this whole emerging of humanity in general from the great apes and stuff like that. This is a pretty interesting mystery as well. To be able to tell how this story went with 100% certainty, that would be a cool thing. Yeah. Nobody really can do that, by the way, nowadays. JK is back on stream. Hey, what's up, man? Where have you been? You're a bit late, huh? Hi, Manny. In the last stream, I said that I'm quite strong, but I have bad technique. However, I could even be stronger, but I don't like working on strength because I'm scared my technique will get worse. What should I do? Keep getting stronger because I can, or only focus on technique? If you can still get stronger, get stronger. If you're not injured or anything, get stronger. There is nothing wrong with being strong as heck, okay? You can never have too much power. You can always catch up on technique later with experience and mileage and stuff like that. Getting stronger is only possible actually in a very limited period of your life, and that is probably your pre-30s age wise. Okay, after that, really getting stronger is actually very, very hard, as except if you're very, very far from your genetic limit still. But if you're quite close to your genetic limit already, getting really stronger, and not just better, yeah, really stronger in terms of measurable physical strength beyond your 30s is actually quite hard. It is still possible to get better at climbing because you get more experience, you get better technique, you get better strategy, all these things which are mattering in climbing a lot. But getting actually stronger is only confined to a certain lifetime, yeah. So if you can still get stronger, get freaking stronger, man. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good one. Flat Earth still persists to this day in some people's mind. All of that Antarctica stuff, yeah. And it's so easy to disprove, yeah. I don't know if you've seen my video. I think it's called the Tree of Life vlog. The Tree of Life vlog. I had a whole segment, I think 15 minutes at the end of the video, where I made a very easy to do experiment on the eastern Peloponnese Greek coast with an island which was around 50 kilometers away from the shore. And I mean, having these circumstances is not that easy, actually. Yeah, it's not that easy. Having an island which is reasonably small so that you can see the differences in height, and that is reasonably far away, 50 kilometers, it was away, I think between 50 and 60 kilometers. And then you have to have a coast which is very steep as well, so that you can go up and down very easily, so that you can see the difference of the outlook of this island very easily. Yeah, these circumstances just came together very perfectly on the east coast of the Peloponnese in Leonidio, where I was, I think, pretty much a bit more than a year ago. Yeah, uh, actually, exactly a year ago. Not even a year ago. Man, time does not fly so fast. At least that's amazing to see. So yeah, but anyway, uh, I I would expect that meeting these circumstances is actually not that easy, but it's gotta be somewhere else on the planet out there as well. And people should just simply go there and check for themselves. Yeah, I could not explain what I saw there in any other way, shape, or form than by just simply saying, "Okay, it's just freaking around, man. Get over it." Prescriptive morality. There are a few contemporary-ish mysteries though, like Amelia Earhart, MH370, DB Cooper, Jimmy Hoffa, Bermuda Triangle. You're one informed mofo, man. I don't know the stuff, a lot of the stuff at least that you're talking about. I mean, I heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but all these names. And how did people coexist with dinosaurs? Talk about PTSD. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, people have not been around when there were dinosaurs around, right? At least according to the mainstream story. I mean, mammals were still in the beginning when dinosaurs were around. Dinosaurs dominated, and the mammals were small, like just little rats and stuff like that. Then the dinosaurs died through some sort of significant event, which we don't really know what it was yet for sure. Maybe it was a volcanic eruption or a asteroid or stuff like that. We don't really know for sure. At least that's what I've learned in my biology studies. And then once the dinosaurs got extinct, obviously the mammals came up, right? And we are just a product of that. But people, as we know it nowadays, are not that old. Yeah, we're just a second in the hour that is evolution, so to speak. Um, it's interesting stuff, though. It's also interesting when we see that, yeah, with our modern perception of time, this is very unimaginable, right? Animals and people back in the day had a completely different perception of time, and I would actually argue that it's probably better to have this same perception of time even nowadays, because having this kind of linear view of time which just goes on and goes on and goes super fast and faster and faster and every day, and we are rushing towards our death and then it's over forever. it's not a really it's not a really sustainable way of looking at things, right? It's more sustainable to look at it in a form of a circle. It's a circle, right? We're coming back. It's a circle of life. uh, but the thing is, with our civilized nature that we live in nowadays, we change things so quickly, we invent new stuff so quickly that of course it appears like it's very linear, right? We're rushing towards something in the future, and there is the future and the past, and it's completely different from each other. My grandpa lived a completely different life than my daughter is going to live. Back in the day, these two different generations would have been pretty sure that they would have pretty similar lifestyles, and this of course created a completely different perception of time than we have it nowadays. So also these kind of things, these kind of mentalities, they evolve. Speaking of mysteries, the Yatlov Pass. There are recent stories that the experts officially determined it was an avalanche based on scientific modeling. Dude, you're too informed, man. What the frick is the Dyatlov Pass? I haven't heard about that before. Let's Google it up. Dyatlov Pass. There it is. Unglück am Dyatlov Pass. Unglück am Der ungeklärte Tod von 9 Skiwanderern am nördlichen Ural in der Sowjetunion im Gebiet zwischen der Republik Korny und der Oblast Sverdlovsk im Jahr 1959. Sie starben in der Nacht vom 1. auf den 2. Februar. Interesting. Okay. Hypothermia. So they froze to death, I guess. And their deaths are not yet explained. Okay, so yeah. There's strange occurrings like that, obviously. Interesting. JK says, thanks for answering. Then I will hit the fingerboard right tomorrow. Just go for it, man. If you're not injured like that, keep increasing that strength. You can't really go wrong with that. Yes. Once the dinosaurs were extinct, the mammals began to evolve in ways that gave rise to humans. Yeah, that's true. So I'm pretty sure, I would be very surprised if our modern scientists are so wrong about things that humans actually coexisted with dinosaurs. That probably did not occur. But yeah, mammals coexisted with dinosaurs in their very basic states, so to speak. And dinosaurs even exist to this day, right? Their descendants exist to this day because we still have birds here. We still have crocodiles, which are actually here since the dinosaur age. Turtles, I think, also come from the dinosaur age. Yeah, lizards and all that kind of stuff, right? Mark Trittibach says, hey Manny. What's up, Mark? What's going on? I have so many questions, but the stream has been long and resting is good for the host. Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. This is the longest stream I ever did, for sure. 2 hours and 15 minutes, man. It's a new record. And it's basically because of you, Lola J, because of your freaking interesting input. Great stuff, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate that. By the way, are you a girl or a man? Lola J. Lola is girl name, right? Mark Tritipas says, the true mystery is why the pink one in the corner is always so hard. I don't get it, man. I don't get that. Sorry. Maybe I'm a little bit too text already today. I'm a girl. Wow. Okay. Nice. Jordan Heller says, do you think the mainstream stories are true? For example, when the dinosaur extinction was, conspiracy theories think the government wants to lie to us about there is no reason for this. Yeah, this is exactly the thing, right? I mean, what's the point about lying about the dinosaurs? Why? I mean, I get certain points of the flat earthers, for example. They want to the story of the flat earthers always was that they make us believe that the earth is round because then they push this whole climate change agenda onto us. Then they can make us live in fear on this confined planet, on this. Because when you tell people, when flat earthers tell the somebody, okay, the earth is flat, then this guy will always ask, okay, then show me the edge. Where's the edge of the earth? Which I think is a pretty stupid statement, because who is to say that the earth cannot be flat but endless also, right? The thing with a round earth is that it is for sure ending. There is a limited space on a round earth. And this is good because this opens up the realm for stories like overpopulation, climate change, we're ruining our environment, so we have to use electric cars only. We have to get rid of our waste, yada, yada, yada. We have to limit your freedom of movements and stuff like that. Essentially, putting restraints, restrictions onto humanity is a lot easier and a lot more arguable on a round earth than on a flat earth that is potentially endless, right? Potentially endless flat earth also is a lot more adventurous. I've talked about this before. It is it shapes the mindset of humans, and maybe, who knows, humans who don't know that the earth is round and limited live a little bit a happier life because they don't know, right? They believe that the earth is flat and endless, and there is this sense of endless adventurism out there. And you could go just into one direction and you would always meet something new. You would always come up with new landscapes, and then comes the ocean, and then you go into one direction, and then all of a sudden there comes a freaking ice cap and whatnot. Yeah, so it's very adventurous like that. Does that make sense? Around Earth is very scientific and very uh, boring. Yeah, it's very ending. It's very limited. A lot of these stories can be pushed onto people a lot easier on around Earth. That's why the flat earthers said, okay, they say the Earth is round, because then they can sell you the climate change story, they can sell you the overpopulation story, the using up of resources story, and whatnot. Whereas in fact, there is just these elites, right? These elites which make up these stories because they want all the resources for themselves. They want to have their slave population working for them so that they can live in their mansions somewhere on the Hawaiian Islands or whatnot, right? Which, I mean, this is not so untrue from a realistic standpoint. There is elites out there, and they like to have a great population working for them, upholding their wealth essentially. But it probably happens all around Earth. Yeah, the Earth is very likely just round. Yeah, it's very likely just a globe. Whether it is that big as it is claimed to be, this I don't know. I didn't make the calculations exactly myself. For these calculations, I think my measurements were not really accurate enough. But to be able to state that it's for sure round, I think it was enough for that. Yeah. USA, black woman. Awesome. I think you're very, very unique on the stream. I can tell you this much. Very unique on the stream. I already on the main channel, I have, I think, 85% of my audience is male. Yeah. From the US though. Yeah, I have a pretty the largest audience comes from the US actually. And then I think it's Germany, Great Britain, and other European countries. Yeah. And 85% male. Yeah. So I'm always happy to hear from females actually watching my stuff because it's very rare. Yeah, and there is really no reason why would they lie to us about dinosaurs. Yeah. I mean, I have to also tell you, I have never found a freaking skeleton of a T-Rex out there myself. So I can't really for sure say that not all the freaking T-Rex skeletons are fake, and there is this whole story made up with dinosaurs to somehow fake evolution, and in fact evolution has never really taken place, and we have been placed on this planet, on this flat earth, by the aliens, and now we are mining gold for them, and at some point they're gonna kill us all and just simply take all of our gold and whatnot is out there, man. There's so much epic stuff is out there. The beauty of the internet, you know what's up. But yeah. Why do you put up a fake British accent? His accent sounds Austrian to me. I just simply talk like that. I mean, as I did previously, also during that stream, I did talk a bit more like Austrians. Austrians talk English usually. Usually, when Austrians talk English, they talk like this, right? And they never never actually use the th. They always use the s for th. So then Sensei would say, "My name is Manny, and this is my girlfriend. She's called Mona," and stuff like this, right? So this is actually the original Austrian accent. But I've watched enough YouTube. I've talked enough English myself so that I have had decent idea, I think, of how to pronounce things so that they don't sound completely off. And this is just something that I got used to with time. But hey, maybe it would probably be funnier if I would actually talk with the original Austrian accent more often. He's trying too hard to sound British. He sounds like a German who learned English 2 years ago. I think they would probably sound more like I sounded before. They may be happier unless they devote their life to proving the Earth is flat. It's definitely good. I mean, questionable use of time, but freedom of speech. Hey, if you're claiming the Earth is flat, you should have the right to do so. Okay, yeah, you should have the right to do so. I can prove you wrong, but I mean that doesn't mean you have not the right to say it. This is a big problem that I have with censorship. I mean, why do they censor this kind of community on YouTube nowadays? There's absolutely no reason for that. Instead, simply disprove them. What's so hard about that? That's things. That's a mystery for me. Lola J. That's a mystery that I would like to have solved. Why do they have to censor this funky community? It's funny to watch them. The only thing worse than enduring an insult is responding to one. I don't get insulted very easily. Torben Busiek back on the stream. What's up, man? Greetings from Mallorca. You're on Mallorca? Good stuff. I hope you're climbing there. Mallorca has great climbing, I heard. But nobody cares. Bro, nobody cares about your flat earth opinion. So in conclusion, you talked a lot but said nothing that makes sense. Well, that's your opinion, and you can have it. That's fascinating. Interesting demographics. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. Girl, I should say. I often joke that statistics are like bikinis. Hey, did you have that from me, or did you find that yourself? They reveal a lot, but they hide the really important parts. Absolutely. What they show might be interesting, but what they disguise might be even more interesting. Yes, they often do. Austrian German should be the new standard German. Sounds so much nicer. Yeah. I see your guitar. I play acoustic too. Do you have plugs in an amp? I have an amp actually, and I have a guitar that has a plug, which is the Ovation here in the back. I don't know if you can see it. My lighting is pretty crap today. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, the Ovation actually has a plug, but I ruined it, unfortunately. So it's now not possible to plug it in anymore. I don't know. Maybe I repair it in the future, or I get another guitar with plug-in. But I played with an amp sometimes. But nowadays I only play without amps. This is a little bit into the direction of a flamenco guitar, and this down here is just a normal standard classical guitar. Wa kapat enkuile. I don't understand that, Shoram says. Good night. Good night, Sean. See you soon. I think we're gonna close the stream very soon, my friends. 3 hours, man. I am self-taught. You, in terms of what? English? I am self-taught in terms of English. This is how much I can say. I had it in school, but that was absolutely useless. I learned it from the time on I watched YouTube. Good mystery to solve. Yeah, true. Is DVS existing? May have to try this summer. You mean deep water soloing? Of course it is. Of course it is existing. You can do it on Mallorca, by the way. The place where Torben Busiek is there at the moment. Yeah, really great climbing. Nice. The plugin is a nice option. I found you through a random search of YouTube lives. I searched live plus ask. Funky. Yeah, man. Yeah, woman. You increased my live stream by about an hour, I would guess. I mean, the duration of the live stream. And now, since we finally made it to the bottom of the chat, I want to thank you very much for listening to today's live, today's version, today's episode of Demanitized. If you're still here, congrats, you made it to the very end. Drop a like if you're still here. That would be very much appreciated. Helps the algorithms. You know the deal. That's always appreciated. I want to give out a special thanks to Lola J for all the questions. Also to Paul B for all the questions in the chat today. It was really interesting to answer your stuff, although it was not so climbing specific. But before that, we could get into a lot of climbing specific stuff as well. So this is just the nice kind of mixture that I would like to have for my streams. That's what I really enjoy. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm going to take a last sip of the live streaming receptacle. Today we rocked the Hermax. I hope you enjoyed it. Mmm. 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 You're self-taught in guitar. Yes, I'm not completely self-taught in guitar. I had a teacher for the first half a year or so, but then I realized it was not really useful anymore, and so I started learning with YouTube. Yeah, the internet is just too powerful. Kindly, what is your regular content? I have a main channel which is called Manny the Monkey, and where I post stuff about climbing, sports, nutrition, and all that. This is actually just a side channel where I do my live streams and stuff. If you want to check it out. And when do you usually post a stream? I always stream on Sundays, but not on every Sunday. Usually when I stream on Sunday, 21 o'clock, I think GMT +2 time or something. Yeah, this is the time zone that I'm operating in. So this time essentially, but not every Sunday. As I said, when I post, I put up a announcement to the channel, to the demanitized channel, where you can see the next stream is going to be this and that Sunday at 21 o'clock. So you should be able to see it when I put up another announcement. If you'd like to join again, so much fun, you said. Yeah, this was really a fun stream. Thanks, man. Also from Paul B. Yeah, thanks to you, Paul. Like, comment for the algo. You're a good sport. Hey, thanks. Cheers. I want to check out the other channel too. Nice system. Yeah. Glad you joined, Lola. Happy to see you next stream, I would say. Have a good night, my friends. I'll see you soon. Stay strong. Keep crushing. Despite the crazy circumstances, make the best out of it. I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye.